And we're live. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to another episode of the Aggressively Average Angler podcast. We're talking all things DIY for all my folks out there who, say we only review expensive things and like we only buy Yak Attack products. We're going to talk about solving some problems on your kayak rig. So if you want to make like a killer kayak rig and you don't want to like buy every premium part out there, there are ways to work around that. And there are also like some things that the market is not creating at this time that you have to make yourself. So we brought on the man, the myth, the legend himself, who is currently doing this all the time. This is the guy that we go to when we have questions on rigging, you guys. So for anybody asking us, DMing us about this, you're gonna get passed along. Sorry, Dave, in advance. But we got Dave Erkey here from Kayak City. Dave, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Hey, bud, how's it going? I'm doing well. It's warm out today, so I'm just kind of enjoying the weather. It's real good. I was just at the kayak shop yesterday doing some stuff. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Dave hopped on. He's like, my garage is 100 degrees, but don't worry, it's a dry heat. And I was like, bro, come on. That's awesome. And then he was telling us it was so hot your laptop lit on fire the other day.
I was a Bass and Brews interview, and middle of the interview my computer, like, you hear the fans going, and they're just going, and I didn't think anything of it because they're always going. And then all of a sudden smoke started shooting out of one of the ports. The computer shut off. I lost signal. It was like, so I just texted him. I'm like, my computer's on fire. I can't.
Give me a second and a fire extinguisher. I'll be right back.
I took it outside. I put it right in a bucket of water. I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing, dude. It was scary. No. Yeah, dude.
That's like what happens to my heart after about a month of not taking a break.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is, we're about a week and a half out from Paul's heart igniting.
If I could just make it to this weekend, what happens is this, you guys, I'll be like living my life totally normally for me, but that actually means staying up every single night till 1 a.m. and getting up at 6 a.m. to like beat my kids. And so beat my kids to get ready, not actually physically injure my children.
Full stop.
Actually, you know what? I said it right the first time. No, and so what'll happen is I'll get home from work. It'll almost always inevitably be on a Thursday night. And I will be doing normal stuff. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, it sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll just lay down right here on the floor, and then I will pass out until about 3 a.m. And I'll be like, what happened? And then I'll walk upstairs and I'll continue to sleep until 6 a.m. when my alarm goes off, and I'll pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, that's your body catching up.
So in the glass hold, it's breakfast beef, and then all of a sudden
that's right.
You pass out, everybody just walks over you throughout the night.
Oh, they pretend like it doesn't happen. It's like I'm not even actually. They what happens is my wife takes a picture of me, and then they go on like I'm like nothing is going on, and then the next day it just doesn't even get acknowledged that I literally ran out of batteries.
I think we just
dad with a glass of water,
just ignore him, just walk around him. But I think Dave, you just coined like a really great phrase.
Beat down?
No. The glass hold.
Sorry,
you were gonna say the glass household. Glass hold. I'm saving that. Put that in the bank. We're gonna be using that. I love it.
We're gonna get rid of this plaque.
The glass hold. Well, no. It's like the new Welcome to the Casa. It goes upstairs. It's like at the front door.
Oh yeah, like everyone else has like the cursive, like their name written all fancy, and mine's gonna be in like all metal font. Glass hold.
Glass hold. Instead of live, laugh, love, it's gonna be breakfast beef and beat
breakfast beef at the glass hold.
Breakfast beef and beat downs.
The irony is I'm teaching both my kids how to punch, and my son, he's figuring
because they got to fight back against.
It's a problem. This is not gonna be good.
My thing is once because I got a 10-year-old, and once he figured out his footwork, I'm like, okay, I'm in trouble now. Like,
shoot.
No beef, bro. We're good. Dude, all right. Well, we got a fun show tonight, you guys. We're gonna answer a lot of questions. Also, if anybody in here in chat, if you're rigging a kayak right now, if you have any of those specific type questions, be sure to put them in there. I'll star them so I can get back to them later in the show. But if we don't answer your question right away, just be patient. If we're like in the middle of a conversation, I always or Chaz will star the comment, and I can always come back to it. So drop your questions, people. But let's get into it. So quick plugs. We got a couple things coming up. So we did opt out of the Ohio event for Kayak Adventure Series, we will be going to Franklin, PA, Pennsylvania. We'll be over there in September. That's September 12th and 13th, so that's going to be a blast. Our buddy Jake Suvak won the Yak Off Championship. Right. So he is the first official Yak Off champion, which is like, congrats, enjoy that title, bro. But he had the Vibe Shearwater. It was pretty sick. So quick shout out to him because that was really cool. And we kind of reviewed we did our own little bracket. And unfortunately, he didn't make it to the championship in ours, but I'm glad he made it into the real one that actually counts. Awesome. So that was really cool to see. And we hope to put our stupid faces on the next Yak Off Awards. That'll be a blast. And then our next members only live is coming up June 10th. It's actually right before we fly out to the Pacific Northwest to do a really cool trip with Kayak Angler Mag and a whole bunch of really cool folks that we're getting. Like, there's new people joining the roster every single day, it seems like. So we're at like 14 people going on this trip. We got Yak Attack, Wade is going, we've got Bixby is going, we've got Vibe is going to be there, obviously Kayak Angler Mag, and then a whole bunch of cool creators and tackle companies. Actually, we got this new like smaller tackle company that's going to be there, so we're going to be using some new tackle as well. And we're saltwater fishing out of kayaks, man. Like, I've never ever done that. I'm borderline terrified. Dave, you hit the Delta, you hit the salt at all?
Never on the salt, dude.
Never on the salt. All right.
Yeah. Anything where I could be a topwater lure, I don't feel like being out there. You know what I'm saying?
Where I could be a top. Yeah. Put trebles on your kayak, like 2 trebles on your kayak, dog. You're good.
Yeah, I just look like a big old crawler. You know,
no fish for greats. Get that great white. Let's go.
Yeah. No, dude, I was talking to Darren Wendell. He's gonna be out there. So I was talking to him a couple days ago. He was talking about it.
Wendell was one of the new additions. We learned that he was going about a week or 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we're gonna get to hang out with him. The Hoovers are going. You know, like it's gonna be a blast, man. I'm excited for it. Paul and I are gonna vlog the whole trip, so you guys are probably like either you're sorry and or you're welcome. You're getting like 10 videos out of this trip. It's gonna be like, we're gonna blast the channel with it, and we'll be all over Instagram for whenever we have signal so we can actually post. So we're gonna be out in the middle of nowhere, like absolutely no, like on an island, middle of nowhere. So but it is a lodge. I'm sure they have something. We ended up finding out
apparently they have good Wi-Fi. I just don't want my boss to know that.
Okay, well, nobody tell Paul's boss, but we will have Wi-Fi so we can do stuff. I have my slowly dying laptop with me. Maybe I can edit a video while we're up there. Otherwise,
I think they have outlets.
Dude, yeah.
Mac will take care of us on that.
Yeah, we'll have a ton of those things.
You guys get the USB transfer adapter for the Nocquas?
Sick. Dude. I was actually just going to go grab it, but I needed to be taller, so I had to go upstairs to grab my the cable. But yeah, that little multi-tool plug-in thing is freaking sweet.
Yeah. Dude, they killed it. Yeah,
they really do.
Bring that.
This thing is actually sick. You can like put your credit cards and stuff like inside of the little stash. It's called the stash pack.
Yeah.
The compass, I don't know about. I'm not upset about it, but this thing in general is friggin' rad.
It's neat. It's rad.
Yeah. It's powering my phone right now, so it's the only reason we're able to do this.
Well, good, fantastic. Yeah. If you want to tell them, Paul, or you want me to tell the story for you?
All right. So here's the deal, guys. I'll just short and sweet. I blew up my computer. Actually, I just blew up my motherboard is what happened. I shorted it out. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So I was changing out the RAM, and I did everything right except when you have to take all of the power out of your tower.
Yeah.
When you pull the RAM out and put the new RAM back in, or else it could. There's a small chance, but it could short your motherboard. Yeah. It's like sort of one of those things where like, yeah, you should do that, but like not everybody does it. And so I did all that stuff. And then I did not hold the reset button down long enough to fully drain the residual power. And then that ended up very likely shorting my motherboard, which means I did, Charles and I went down the whole thing, reset CMOS, blah, 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 troubleshot it, and we couldn't figure it out. And so I took it in this morning. I actually I won't call anybody out. There's a shop in Ann Arbor. They're in trouble with me specifically. And I need that laptop. Or not that laptop, I keep saying that. I need that desktop back in order to edit a video for Friday. So Jeff might be doing that one, and then I would take Monday. It doesn't really matter. Long and the short is I don't have a desktop right now. So this is on my phone. and we're really hoping to get that back in the next couple of days. It's
So
gonna be it's $1,000 mistake. I held the button down for 4 seconds instead of 10 seconds. $1,000 mistake.
it's absurd, and that's what computers do to you guys. Super lame.
Yeah, you think kayaks are bad?
Well, yeah, electronics, cars, way worse. Actual boats.
That's a non-tariff Newport right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the show then. But that is why Paul is on his phone, just so everybody knows. But thanks for being here, buddy. I wasn't gonna cancel it. I'm glad we didn't have to cancel it.
Nah, I wasn't gonna do that.
Dave, I wanted to have a fun show.
I literally thought about it. I was like, no, we're
gonna cancel. It doesn't. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. We would still be chatting tonight. You know.
That's true. I was like, well, we're gonna talk anyways.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the garage. I'm working my kayak. What am I doing here? Right? Help me out. All right. So let's start with a cue of the deal. Let's get nice and warmed up. All right. And it is a kayak rigging based question. But what, and Dave, I'll start with you on this, but what is the worst you done messed up mistake that you've made while rigging a kayak where you did the thing and you're like, damn it. Like, this is not good.
Oh, well, I've had a few. Like that's like one of those things where every time I've messed up, it's one lesson that I've learned that I've never forgotten. And anytime I'm talking to somebody, I immediately, doesn't matter what step of the process it is, I make that the most important step. I'm like, hey, so I messed up. Like, okay, so running tubing for steering lines. Steering cable tubing. I've pulled it out. I've pulled it too tight, heated, melted, popped it in on the other side, tweezed it back out, pulled it in, and then I was like, okay, I'm about an inch short. So then I cut it. It's a pain in the ass. Or wiring the Yak Power eight-way.
Oh, the big panel switcher.
Yeah, you have to reverse the power going in. Yeah, if you ever notice, if you look at them with the red and the black and the way it's done, like it has a little reverse switch on it, and I mess it up every time. And I can't tell you, well, not every time, I should say. I messed it up about 3 good times to the point where I had hot batteries really fast. And I was like, okay, thank God it was in my garage and I figured it out. It wasn't on somebody else's kayak. It was on my own. But
you mean here?
Yeah. No, the 8-way going into the top.
Oh.
Yeah, the top main power port. If you pull it open and you look at the colors and you look at the prongs, yeah, dude.
We're gonna find out right now on the show.
Whip it out.
So Paul has a whole box of Yak Power to his right.
I love their products, dude. Yeah. In fact, the local Yak Power rep, Dan Arbuckle, was the guy I bought my first kayak from off Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, if you start looking at the connectors when you go to try and plug a power cord in, your power source in, you're gonna be like, oh, I need to reverse that real quick. And so I peel the wires apart because it's a 2-strand wire, red and black. And I take red electrical tape and I wrap it up the black, and I take black electrical tape and I wrap it up the red. So that way the next person looking in goes, okay, the red, that's the black, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's so weird.
Oh shit. Yeah. What the fuck?
Zoom it in.
Yeah. See how the red is on the Yep.
Oh.
What the fart? So the black is going. It's always the other way around.
So what you do, and what I've done is you can cut that one, but you're screwed. So what I do is the power connector, the SAE connector that goes to that, I just make sure that I flip the current. So I put it on the opposite side of the battery.
That's so weird.
It is weird. It is something that they've been doing for a very long time. James from Kayak City showed me that before I started doing builds. Yeah. And
I'm going to call Gene and be like, Gene,
why?
He probably has a really good reason. I'll call Gene. So I started talking to these guys. Jeff, when I reached out to him a month and a half ago.
A couple months ago.
And I was like, dude, I've used your product on every single build. Literally every single build that I've done after my first 2, ever since I've done electronics. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. And we're on the team now, so to speak. And it was a great conversation. So I've had a couple. I couldn't figure out a problem with the wireless charger. It was totally me. It was a dumb thing. It was dumb. I'm dumb. It's stupid me. And I did it all right the first time, but it's dumb me. My phone was too full of power, so it just kept turning off because it didn't need it. And I was like, why isn't this working? They're like, I don't know. And then, anyways, they're amazing, super nice guys. Just they went through everything back and forth, and I did my secret shopper move. I'll do this a lot with companies. But I don't know if people know this, but I will go in with my personal email and I will put out a question to customer service, however their site works. I actually did that. I went in, I logged in differently, not under their account. I didn't tell them I was coming, and I posed a question on their forum. The guy was with me the next morning.
Yeah.
And then we went back and forth like 5 minutes. Like, on it, truly very, very good customer service.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be, they had great answers for every single thing that I asked them. I'd be really curious to know the answer to this one.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I mean, it would have to be all the way back in assembly, like right in the beginning, they would have to do that. So wherever it's being assembled at is where they would have to all they have to do is swap the plug. That's all they got to do. Swap the plug.
Well, yeah, because
I'm sure I'm interested in hearing their explanation.
I literally was like, oh man, I should open the back and take a look. And it just says in giant letters, do not remove.
Do not remove.
Don't take it apart.
I immediately was like, what, maybe I'll grab a screwdriver right now. Just, I'm like, maybe I won't do that.
Literally don't care. Ripping it open. Let's go.
Speaking of that, another big error that I did was I would use number 2 Phillips tips on all my drills when I'm working on kayaks.
Just strip it all out.
Yeah. I didn't, I know number 3 and I know the size screw for number 3, but I just didn't bother to take the time. So
didn't flop the bit.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
By the way, are you freaking kidding me?
It's juice, man.
Whoa.
Of course, you'll never see that part of it. That's
gonna be all you're gonna see as the user on the outside of the hull
is that nifty thing right there.
That's what I got on both of my kayaks.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
We've been using
Wi-Fi.
The 5 for a long time, and the 5 is nice, but you do have to do that big like 2-inch hole in your kayak, which sucks, and it just sits in there. This one is 2 screws and a hole for the cable. That's it.
For the cable, and it's very narrow. It's a very narrow hole, but you have to make it as narrow as the contactor, so it's a little bit wider than that hole, but still it's not that bad. And the cool thing about that whole system is if you ever have an issue at all, first off, they have a great quality control policy. Like they will, hey, if you got a bad board or whatever, send it to us, we'll take care of it. Yeah, it's a direct connect. That's it. Now use in every connection, use dielectric grease.
Good call.
You
gotta seal it.
Good call.
But if anything ever goes wrong and you're on the water, because it has the Wi-Fi connector, use the Yak Power app and you can run it off your phone.
That's insane. We're gonna need another one of those. I'll put it on the Town, the Pro that's coming in. Hopefully in the next week or two. We're actually getting the e-pedal. Did Paul tell you that?
No.
Yeah. So we have the EPDL is on the way. The one kayak we're like never gonna get it, don't want it. And then Old Town's like, look. I know you want the PDL.
It's the $6,000.
It doesn't make sense for anybody who watches the show. Like we won't sit here and say this $6,000 kayak, we want you in it. We're gonna be like, this is cool. It's $6,000. So choose how you spend your pennies, my friends. But yeah, so we're gonna get in that. It's the exact same hull as the PDL. Everything's the same. It's just the EPDL drive. So it still gives us a chance to speak to the quality and the build and what we're gonna do with the PDL setup. But we'll have an EPDL. It's gonna be pretty neat. I tested it. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I think there's a lot to be said for it. I think the idea is really good. I think it's a difficult concept to market, and I think they may. Just if it weren't for the price, I think people would have been a lot more hype on it. And I think Newport releasing at the same time really hurt them because people don't have to go. They can get the same thing and arguably more with a Newport system with a kayak they already have. If it wasn't for that, I think it would have been a much bigger splash. And it is a really cool design. It's clean. It's clean as.
I'm calling it now. This is the last time they use that rudder the way it is because we're just gonna try to push that as hard as we can. We're like, come on, man.
So they have the fat rudder, Dave, and it's shorter, and it just works so much better.
Yeah. They just need to swap it out. Paul, any big mistakes we've made? Plenty.
Yeah, no, we do.
Mostly injuries.
No, it's not that bad. I think placement on the placement of the 5-panel switcher. It always feels like it should go there. I really wish that I would have hit it a lot more often and put it inside of a plate when I could have. That is a mistake that I would not make again.
Don't go through the hull with it. Put it in the power link plates.
It's just for resale, right? When you go back after the fact, or you decide
100%.
wow, this is really far away from me. I also, oh man, I think it's forward-facing sonar. I think there's a lot of opportunities with running the cabling on forward-facing sonar units. I really would. Someone is going to find a way to have that cable be disconnectable, like break the connection.
Dude, it should be.
It should be. I really, truly, it's the biggest miss for kayaks, and enough kayak guys are buying it where I think that should be an option, or at least have a different connector at the source, like where the unit plugs in. Like you should be able to do that.
Because you got to run that big AF cable through and like you can't take the whole unit off. You just have to like lay it on the side. If you want to take it off, you got to go through your system, pull it out. And like it's
the problem too is though, when you break a connection like that, you're causing a delay in the reading, and you can't have that. So like the long cable is long for a reason.
Yeah,
they don't want you to have to do an extension, because with that extension, you almost always have a lag, and any lag in a live scope is going to tick people off way more than just a long cable for kayak anglers. But they're going to have to, I think, anyways, I think I really wish I would have thought those systems out a little better when I was rigging them. Same with the arms. They're big and clunky. They don't make sense. Like the Sniper Marine is $800. Like, in what world?
You got to be so serious about forward-facing sonar to go with the Sniper Marine.
I mean, it's like, very nice, but that's even for me, that's too much.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I would say that probably just like drilling before thinking, which is earlier builds, not anymore, but like earlier builds, we didn't do as much layout and like figuring out.
I'm almost the opposite now.
Yeah,
I ride with it for 2 months before I even drill a hole.
I do a blue tape and I draw with a marker.
There you go.
I go, this is where I want this. This is where I want this. This is how big this is. This is, and then I figure out how much I can fit on each plate where I want it to go ahead of time.
Right.
I think I was talking to either you. I think I was talking to you, Paul, about
99.9% times good.
Yeah, about actually coming out with a series.
We have our own chats.
Yeah. About coming out with a series of templates for knockout plates and for different things, just for customers or people just to be able to do this stuff at home. Like templates, for everybody who doesn't understand what a template is, it's basically if you took a puzzle piece, you trace it out on a piece of paper, you take that puzzle piece off and you cut out that piece that you just traced on. That's your template. It's the same size as your puzzle piece. It's the same shape. So you can fit it wherever you need to before you actually put that puzzle piece in.
Dude, and the fact that all these companies don't include it is what drives me nuts.
You
get Wilderness Systems just on there. Just tell them about the plate.
So we just got the Wildy in, which is why I brought that up. Like we got the Wilderness Systems Tactical Pro 128. You've rigged out a bunch of them, so we're talking to you about solutions with it. Yes.
I've rigged out one.
One. Okay.
Yeah. I've messed with a bunch of them, but I've rigged out one.
Yeah. Yes. It is new, but we're figuring it out with you right now. Yes. But so we're trying to plan out. But we brought it in the garage and we were just looking at it for like an hour and a half and just didn't do a thing. Just hour and a half staring at it, digging all around. What do we do?
We discovered like 5 problems. Like
we found a bunch of problems because we were going to make a video on it, which is what was going to go up Friday, but may now be Monday, but it's coming out soon. But we found those problems. We talked to them, and then we were trying to figure out solutions, and we were bouncing ideas off of you. But the cool thing about that, and you probably saw this, Dave, was like on their replaceable drill through plates, they have a traced out Anderson connector spot. So like that little rectangle that you gotta cut out so that you can drop in a recess or a flush mount Anderson connector port. So it's watertight, great connection, but it's now flush to the kayak, which is how we prefer it. We're doing that on all our rigs right now. But it was just cool that they had a template versus the rest of the time. I take a piece of cardboard. I don't know if anybody else does this. Trace it out, cut that out, use the cardboard. That's my template. And then you have to like overcut it because it's always smaller.
Well, your marker's always bleeding out. So you get this like awful like quarter inch like
and then we just hack it out.
Dude. Oh man. No, it's okay. So first off, I was gonna ask you, how's that walk to the front to look at the screen? Because I saw where you guys mounted your screen from the seat, and I was like, that's a hike. You guys got good eyes.
I told Jeff,
small screen.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say for the small screen, it's not great. For the big screen, it's going to be better just from the seated position.
Yeah.
But you can reach it. So like I thought it was so far and you can actually just scoot your butt forward on the seat and you can
the seat's really long.
The seat is super long. I think for that reason, that's what we came to.
That's my theory. So Jeff called out how long the seat butt part is, and we were both really concerned about it. And then I was like, when we were doing the layout, I was like, hold on a minute, because I noticed the front 6 inches is like angled downwards. And I told Jeff, I was like, let's get in this friggin' thing. So we got in it, and I was like, I figured it out. That angle is actually the extra is there for you to just sit your butt on, so you can actually reach the screen in the front. I also think that I call it the XDR problem now.
Yeah.
The kayak is so long, and they want to make use of that middle space between like the front hatch and this massive front cockpit area.
Yeah.
And what they opted for was a bin, and I love and hate the bin now, because the bin lid is not wide enough for you to actually do anything with, because it's 2 flippy lids and it should be 1 super long one. I hate that. That really bothers me. But I love the idea of the bin, and it does do a lot of really convenient things for you. The problem is it's right underneath where your graphs are. So if you wanted your graphs to be closer, your bins are slapping the bottom of your graphs, which is problematic. Yep. And then with the XTR, it's like, okay, I want my graphs right here, but now I can't reach the front of the boat that I'm supposed to be standing on. So you're like, well, I have to make a decision, and that decision is now going to completely ruin some really cool portion of how this boat was supposed to be designed. I liked Hoover's idea a little bit. I hate his vertical screen setup. It is totally not for me. Austin Hoover, I love his setup. Like, I think that's really great for him. It's not for me, and not a lot is for me. Frankly, electronics are not for me. Like, I am way more U10, Crescent Shoaly. Like, that's more how I like to fish, but I love the build, and I do occasionally like to get in a giant rig. It's fun. And so when I do my dual graphs, I actually like both of mine angled very slightly, if I was going to do 2, like a V shape, right? Like the PWR to me, I think is I like that. Like, I like you have the PWR. I like that. That's the appropriate, for me, amount of space. So for the XTR, though, I was telling Jeff about this. I was like, what if you had it where it was on an arm, and the arm actually just articulated in 2 directions? So you could actually just push them both out of the way, like lever them both, and they lock further away from you when you want to be way out in front. And then when you want to be way out, you just pull them this way. And that would be freaking sick, because then you kind of get the best of both worlds whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a modified captain's bridge.
Yeah, we were modified. You nailed it. We were actually talking about that at the shop. James and I were trying to figure out a way when we got the XTR in, because the first thing I did with an XTR was, let's make this a mini bass boat. You know, I mean, I made a plate with an angled trolling motor and like the whole, you know what I'm saying? I did the whole thing. Now they have the identical plate at Bonafide. You could buy it.
Of course.
Good for them. I mean, I did a whole stand in the back, everything. Like, I made it as bass boaty as you could. And then I was like, all right, so here's my concern is bass boat. You have the screens up front and then the screens, back seat. Do we necessarily need the screen back seat, or are we going to make an articulating arm that comes up so when you're standing up front, or you can pull it back when you're sitting? So I started looking up. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm looking up like those 1950s mirrors for shaving. You know what I'm saying? Articulating arms. Like, I'm going through camera mounts. I'm going through mic stands. I'm doing, because when I think of stuff, like, I don't think of it in a marine sense. I think of it as, let's find this in a practical place. Yeah, let's find the practical place to function. So that's most of my DIY stuff comes from function. Like, I was talking to you, Paul, about a different type of motor thing. Right now I have a yard edger that I'm disassembling. It's
which totally makes sense when you hear the idea. It makes no sense what he just said.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole thing, is like, I take the practicality of useful stuff and I can apply it in a marine sense, So we were trying to figure out an articulating arm. So for you to have an articulating arm on the tactical, I think is going to work out really good for you guys. My only concern is the load versus distance.
$2,000 on the end of a pole. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
We got to look at the computer arms, dude. That's what we got to look at.
So that's what I was actually
what my monitors are on right now.
Arm.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what you need. So, and they make that
flat screen TV bracket.
Exactly. That is exactly it. And then you need a little X mount for it to stand on, and you would just take
the problem with those
and rotate the base.
And this is where I get like, there is this massive, this is just how my brain works. I almost always look at the trade-off of complexity and weight versus like the benefit. And there's almost never a time. It's pretty rare when I'm like, this was worth it. It's so rare. Like
I feel
when
like
I come up with those wins, I'm like, no.
I disagree on big kayaks. I agree on small kayaks and medium kayaks. But like when you get into a Hobie Pro Angler or Wilderness Tactical XTR, like I'm like, I literally don't think about weight at all because it plays zero into
our brains work very differently. Because every time like even my smallie, like when I sit in it, it's really simple the way it is. This is too much for me.
Like, well, you decked it out that way on purpose for the content, but like
for the content. But when I run
wouldn't
that
have
kayak,
otherwise.
I'm probably not doing 90% of that. Like literally, it was I had a ton of fun when it was 2 fishing rods, and then virtually I didn't even use the crate. I had it; it was empty. I'm not joking. Like and that was fine. And I had that, like even the Newport. There's so many cool ways to rig it out, and I really like messing around with the motors. We've talked about some of the stuff I want to do with the motors. And I'm like, every time I'm like, this is really cool. This is fun. I enjoy it. I love a puzzle. But at the end of the day, like my retractor cable is 2 loops. 1 loop for when it's back, and then I pull it forward, and another loop for when it's retracted. And I don't even run it through everything. I just put 1 pulley on. And that's just like, so that's like when my brain goes through that whole process of like, Dave, I found actually a really cool way to like have a hole, like a brass insert for running the tubing for retractor cables. So like most guys, they just kind of cut and heat the tubes on the end. I found a way to do as watertight as you can get brass, like basically pass through. It's amazing. It's like how you would do it for a refrigerator line is how I figured it out.
Oh, so you got a flange kit, like a flare kit.
And they're like, they don't cost anything. Like and it goes like an inch inside the hull. So you get this like really sturdy, like spot. It's so sick. And I'm like, I'm never going to do that on one of my kayaks. Like, I'm going to do it to try it so I know that it works and I'll concept test it. But then when I build my next kayak, I'll be like, screw it. I'll just run on the seat. Because I just don't like, I don't know. It is really funny how like personal kayaks can be. It reminds me very much of like surf culture from back in the day where someone would do something like totally radical. And then you're like, I'd never do that, but that's sick. Like cars. You're like, Dad, like I walk through a car show. Rad. Wouldn't do a single thing. I just want a 94 Acura Integra and a stick shift. Like,
I'll do it.
Well,
do it all.
You got to look at the contractor's house or where the chef works. It's that kind of mentality. Like a chef can't eat at the places that he cooks. A contractor can do great work at people's houses, but you go to his house, his windows are falling off. It's all it's all relative. For that. It's all relative. So like especially like when I do builds, if I'm doing a build for somebody else, hands down, I'm giving it like 1000% my best work. If I'm doing a build for a video, something that the shop gave me to try out, 1000, I'm doing my best work. You should see my RVR. It looks like a rat rod. Like it is just, it's just, I mean, it was extra for the video, and now it's just,
I don't hate it. I'm kind of down.
I'm going extra on my kayaks all the time. All right, real quick, I had a shout out for 2 folks in chat here. We got Sticky River Tom with the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Says appreciate all the help. I think I finally got my kayak ready for muskie opener this weekend. That's awesome, man. Enjoy it.
Unlimited. He's gonna be a happy camper. When you
the muskie unlimited.
Out of all the kayaks that are out there, I truly feel like that one. It
just does it all,
especially for muskie fishing. It does way better than it has any business being in a river like that. And then like being able to kneel on the side and reach way out with a giant net like that. There's no other kayak I'd rather probably doing that with.
I straight up traded my Titan X for it. Like I stopped using my Titan X.
Is great. Let's not pump the brakes on. Like it's a great kayak, but I like the unlimited.
Yeah,
it's shoes. I've found that out. Like James taught me in the very beginning. He's like, just because you jump in this kayak doesn't mean it's the kayak for you. And I was like, okay, it's shoes, dude. Everybody wants a pair of Jordans, but only about 10% of those people find them comfy.
Yeah,
I'm never wearing them. I think they're cool on other people. I wear Vans, bro.
Again, same. But like again, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's each kayak is built for a person, and it's perfect for this group of people. But over here, this kayak is more beneficial for you. I love bona fides. I've jumped on a new canoe about 3 times now, and I'm like, can't do it. You know, just can't do it. I love that everybody else loves them, but I can't do it.
But that's why it's so hard. People ask us all the time. They're like, which kayak should I get? And they give us price points sometimes. And then sometimes they might even tell us how they like to fish. But most of the time, they're just like, what kayak do I get? And I'm going to respond to you with 15 questions because it's impossible for me to just be like, you need this. Yeah. I'm not going to be like, I love a New Canoe Unlimited, so everybody should be in a New Canoe Unlimited. Like, I'll use it and I'll be like, isn't this neat? And then somebody who is looking for what I like in my kayak will see that and say, that's neat for me. And I will go get it unlimited. But like, do what you want, fish how you want.
That's been the best part about trying all the different kayaks. Cause like even the wilderness systems, like I see myself having a fun time fishing out of that kayak.
Yeah.
Once. I'll love it once, and then I'll be like, you know.
Well, you'll be like, that was a lot of work to get that out there, and now I have all this stuff to deal with, and you'll be like, where's my Smalley? Give me a
and that's where I get like I go back to like for me, like the Shoaly truly is like probably the creme de la creme for like how I like to, and really even the RVR and some of those other kayaks that are, you know, and the New Canoe is I think a great example. The New Canoe is for me the best balance because when you're in the zone, and you're like, I would like to be in a tournament rig. You can go from a legit tournament rig to a legit stripped out boat to a legit 2-person like transom mount, all within like 15 minutes and a couple of screws. And I feel like that's what I connected with, and that's why most people, when you ask me if you don't know and I don't know you, and you say like, this is how I like to fish, I like to stand up, but I kind of like it simple, or I like to stand up and I like it fully worked out, or you're like, I like to paddle sometimes and motor sometimes.
I'm going to use a trailer. I go to the river. I go to the lake.
It's really hard. I know you're going to be happy in the New Canoe. It might not be the perfect kayak for you. You might go back and be like, yeah, the XTR is actually the one for me, or whatever, you know. But I know that the New Canoe can accomplish like this huge spectrum of like preference. Very well. Like you paddle I remember the first time I paddled the Unlimited. I was sitting on the front with my feet dangling off. The kayak was empty, and I was paddling pretty well. And I was like, "This is stupid. This is stupid. No, if I was doing this in any other kayak, this would be a horrible, miserable mess.
A big mistake.
Slip out behind you, come back and bite you. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like it's crazy."
We got another super chat here from Feather Outdoors for $10. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Here's some scratch for the help y'all give. Thanks for getting me into an upgrade with the Yak. Can't wait to do my throw and go build. He bought your Shoaly, right?
No, he brought my LT2, which is
the LT2.
A perpetually slept on kayak. Like,
well, it's hidden.
I wish they would. Yeah, they would. I wish they would market it a little more.
Yeah.
The LT2 is slept on. It really is. It's a nice kayak. I love that thing.
Hard agree.
So one more thing about that tactical, and then I'll let it go. I swear.
Yeah. No, we're gonna come back to it in the show.
Okay,
actually.
Cool. Yeah. No. Awesome. Me and James got to test the prototype that they sent over to the shop before they were. I mean, this was months ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, my computer melted, so like trying to get a hold of everything is pretty gnarly.
Yep.
But I did be able to save like a clip out of it, and it's literally us waterboarding it, like water loading. Like we were already out on the water. We were in 40 feet deep water, which I hate that. But I climbed out of my PWR and into the tactical while he was in the tactical. Me and James were both like 200 pounds plus. And I was like moving, he was standing. I was like, no way, dude. So I turned around, and this is the clip I have. I'll try to find it and send it to you guys. I turned around, I put my arms out. I'm gonna grab my waist real quick, and he's like, all right. And I was like, I'll never let go, Jack. Like, so, but it loaded us fine. He climbed off onto my PWR. The thing barely even gave. Like that tri-hole design, it's so stable. It is a barge. Yeah, so
it is. The way I told Paul about it, like the way I feel about it is, we rank the Hobie Pro Angler hull is a 10 out of 10 stability. Like I don't even feel a single ounce of tip. We have caught fish and like leaned all like this all the way over, and it does not. There's no way you're going out. So I always rate that at the highest. I'm like comparing everything else against it. And the XTR and the Wildy are like kind of neck and neck for me. And they're around that 8.59 out of 10. And the reason is that they do have the tip. It's not going anywhere, but as compared to just based off the height off the water and like the amount of tip that you get versus the Pro Angler, it is different.
The tight necks, it's just because they're so flat. The Hobie
and the tight necks is another one, like flat. A 995.
they're way up there.
Yeah.
The Hobie is just a little bit more, and it's just because it's heavier.
Yeah.
I think. And then the thin gunnels, I actually think that the way the thin gunnels work for the stability on the ends, I think makes a huge difference. Those things are just super rigid, and like they're just so friggin' big and flat though. But I think that I mean that all other kayaks have some sort of V to them, and that will give you
a tip, but then you get secondary and tertiary stability, and like you just have to know that the stability is there. That's all it is. So you get your, I call it my lake legs. You get your lake legs on, and like then you're like I halfway through that day, like at first I got in it, we got on the water. It's like, okay, it's not too bad. This is pretty stable. I'm walking around. I'm like, yeah, I'm really comfortable with this. Halfway through the day, I was all over the place on that kayak. I was like, I don't care. It's not going anywhere. This is amazing. So yeah, it is really stable. There's a lot of things that we're still going to try and like work out on it. The one thing I will say, and then we got to move on because I do have like some actual show notes to go through. Paul, I did it, man.
Way to go, buddy.
Paul always writes the show notes. And today I was like, I guess I'll write these. So the way that the bow mount motor is positioned, if you have a Motor Guide XI3, it wants to kill you like more than it normally does. So the Motor Guide XI3, when you hit spot lock, is notorious for pitching people. Like it'll just go bam. So don't
it's just very aggressive when it stops.
It's like I want that spot, and it just moves to it.
Fast.
But because I felt like because it's an angled bow mount instead of straight on in the middle of the boat, and the spot lock is positioning from a different position, it feels like it wants to shoot even more aggressively. So the first time I hit it, I was standing up and I was like, oh no, okay, we're good. Didn't fall out. I was like, that could have been a sad start to the day. But yeah, it was just something I noted. But other than that, like it's super stable. It's a great boat. I'm liking it.
The 10 gauge, I can't get down with the 10 gauge wire. I can't.
That they have on the inside of that one. Yeah, we didn't mess around with that wire at all, Paul, but it is. Yeah, it's not like I'm used to dealing with 8 with
8, or for my opinion, for the length of that kayak, from your power source, even with the breaker switch, from the breaker switch out, I'd be trying to cram 6. Yeah, I'd be trying to cram 6 because like continuity, we all talk about this all the time. Like continuity is suck and shake through a straw. So if you want more power, you want a bigger straw. So and the longer it is, the harder it is to suck through. So to upgrade that wire to 6 and do soft braid. Don't do that rigid exterior 10 gauge.
The power kit that they send, right?
Literally,
the power kit they send with this thing.
Look, I gotta explain this, you guys.
You do it. Go for it.
Sorry, I'm just stirring the pot.
This should have gone on
I was literally like, so when when he's talking about soft wire versus, we'll call it hard wire, whatever,
rigid.
When you cut the cabling for the wire that's basically providing power to the trolling motor, there's basically like a more quality, in my opinion, wire is made up of like lots of little strands, and it's very soft and like it's malleable, and it creates a really strong connection because you have a lot of fibers to connect. That's the wire that I buy, which is what I bought to connect this thing and hook it up for the Anderson connector, like the plug basically. And so you have to cut it, and I was going to make this connection, and I cut mine and I clean it up, and we pull the wire off. I'm like, perfect, just what I normally like to see. It looks like hair, like it's very fine on the inside. And then we cut this thing, and the one that they brought to the table to give you to make this connection,
to attach.
It's got these like rods inside of it, and there's like 6 of them, and that's it. And you can with my fingers, I can. I mean, I know everyone thinks I'm a child, but I'm not. I can twist wire, and I go in. I'm like, oh my god, and I can barely twist it. And then I use a solder connection because it's the strongest connection you can like really make. The cabling that they use, those little rods that were inside, instead of the soft, nice fiber, are so rigid they break through the soft.
Yeah, as we heated it up
of the connector, which I'm like, I'm losing my mind. It took me 5 tries to rig it up, and I wanted to scream. I was like, this was 25 cents. This was not going to be the thing that made this kayak more expensive. Like you have this is so my thing with Wilderness Systems. I love the kayak. I love the layout. The concept is very, Very
Their
good.
concept's always on point.
There's a lot of things to really like about this kayak. So we are weirdly focusing on some small gripes.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is very much like Jeff and I had this thing with Wilderness. So we're like we're really hyped and it's really good. It's great. And then right at the finish line, it's like 70. The last 20%, 30% is like, what the hell is that? And this is like, so for me, the plastic in the front, well, just the plastic of the body's a little thin.
It's all thin. Yeah, it's very thin.
I just think it's thin. And
well, we have it in the video. So when you hit the motor, it kicks the whole
you
bow.
You can watch the plate move where the trolling motor is mounted, and they have a mounting plate to support the inside of the kayak at the back. JP mentioned it, and I saw it, and I was ready for that. Yeah. And then they have a plate in the front because you drill right through the hull, which for me, I was like, why didn't you just go with thicker starboard?
Press inserts, maybe.
Do inserts. That's just how my brain works with kayaks these days. Yep. And look, like I want to be really clear. We are nitpicking. Every kayak has these 7 things. Every single one. Yep. My favorite kayak has massive problems that I'm like, if you would just
it's never perfect.
Given me the gosh darn thing for a week, I could have fixed all of this. But like, this is just this is me venting.
Dave, we got to start a think tank that the kayak companies go to, and we'll just be like, "Here's what you got to not do."
It's not even for. It's for. I want to make everyone's better. Like I want Vibe to help.
That's what I'm saying.
Design. I want everyone to come to me and be like, "Just tell me what I effed up." And you don't have to take it or not, but I want to at least give you a chance to like see some of this stuff. Anyways, that cabling will if they don't change that at some point, I will always be like, this is something they can fix tomorrow. Like they'll sell out of what they have, but then the next round of product they get, just buy this version. It should be very simple. This is a nickel. Like you're literally dodging pennies to just not piss people off.
Every Anderson connector kit that we've ever gotten on Amazon is the thin thread wire. That's great for connections. And this one kit that Wildy bought is the thickest.
Well, if you buy a solid you want a solid copper, quality wire. And so Dave, you mentioned the 6. You mentioned the 6. I agree. I think anything over 10 feet should be 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
10 feet, I'm very fine with 8. Having done it quite a bit, I think that's fine.
Yeah. This is what you learn about when you rig kayaks and you want electronics. You are now an electrician. Like you have to learn a lot of the basics of electrician work, which will help you in working on your house too. I've learned a lot of things. I'm just saying, there are real world applications here, folks. From you build a kayak and like you learn so many things
by me. It's the greatest.
I remember when you're doing that. I was like, let me know if you have questions.
You're doing electrical all day long.
Still pretty proud of my spider wire back there. I think it was
you
nuts.
should be, dude.
It was solid, man.
It's impressive work. Congrats.
So speaking on the same line, the wire can be swapped out. Like you said, it's all nitpicking stuff. Every kayak for everything. But the thing that got me the most out of the whole thing was the thinness of the plastic. I agree. It's very flexible. The only thing I could think of why they made it so thin is because of the size of the kayak.
The weight.
Yeah.
It would have been a 170-pound kayak.
The cost is great. They beat a lot of people on cost. Yeah. And I mean, this thing is priced as a new release. The one thing I always want to tell people is like, when you're pricing a kayak, you're pricing it for the next 5 years, not for today. Yep. And so there always is going to be inflation built in because they're going to have to fight that for the next 5 years. They have to make a profit. And I know no one likes to hear that, but it's a fact. And so
but it's still priced really well.
It's still priced, in my opinion, very reasonably. And I think that's a huge part of it. The other thing I'll say is like, while it is thin, it's not damagingly so. I don't think it's ever going to hurt you. I don't think you're ever going to like poke a hole in it. I don't think you're ever going to like, whatever. Like it's quality product. So, but it is thinner than others. Like this is why I love Crescent. They use the best plastic that you can buy for a kayak. I don't know that you can argue with it. I think
Native and Bonafide are kind of in the same boat. They have that like more rigid plastic. Like I always feel
to a Crescent,
very good about
knock on it. Go to any other kayak, including Old Town. I will say, and Old Town's is very good. Old Town is quality. Go knock on one of those, and then knock on a Crescent. The finish is nicer on a Crescent. The hardness is nicer, but also the weight on it it's just not there. I mean, it's just better.
Yeah.
So
No, I've been to Columbus Expo. The thing is, we don't have a Crescent contract at Kayak City, so I've never really been able to mess with them too much.
Yeah,
so it's all hearsay when I talk to a lot of people. Like I can take a look at it, and then I'll look up like dimensions. Like I was talking to somebody about a thing for their
Was it Andrew Hayes?
Fish finder. Yeah. And,
so I've been talking with Andrew about that. I had an idea for that. You have to tell me what you think, because I actually told him I would bring it up in the show.
Oh, do it. Yeah, what's up?
So check this out. So he came up with this in the Shoalie, there's this really quality, Yakabi makes a really quality, it is chef's kiss quality transducer mount. It's so nice. 4 long screws, and it just sandwiches in. It's the creme de la creme. But
this is a scupper mount for anybody listening. So
yeah, sorry.
A lot of kayaks
for transducers,
Yeah, for transducers on kayaks, you guys, before Paul continues on with this real quick, you're either going to mount them through a scupper, and that's designed so that the cable can easily like go where it's supposed to go. And usually you have to get like a little sandwich application for that so you can mount it. It just bolts to it.
So 2 pieces, top of hull, bottom of hull, and there's a hole in the kayak. And this basically is just a rod that goes through the middle and then it connects to the transducer and mounts the transducer inside a little pocket underneath the bottom of the kayak.
It's usually that, or it's where there's 2 brass inserts somewhere underneath the kayak, and you just mount like your transducer mount straight to
I kind of like.
Unless you have Bonafide, then you can use your dry pod. But okay, so what did you give him as your?
I told him that I had this concept. So what he did was he wanted to be able to drop the transducer so that it could shoot side imaging more cleanly. It works.
In shallow water.
It works the way that it works. But in a river, for river fishermen, you really do want something that is really kind of dropped a little bit lower, at least like probably 3 inches. And so what he did was he just cut a piece of PVC, and then it has like a knob on top, and then you just drill the hole so that he can pick it up and shoot a rod. I mean, it works though. It works. It's a good idea. Yeah. He shot through his hand. Good guy. Good man. And he has like 2 rings to keep it like, in like locked inside. So basically, it's just got a pin that holds it up, and when he pulls the pin, it drops down and puts the pin back in, and it locks it down. The problem I have with that is what happens when you're in the river. You don't see stuff, you run into it, and you wreck the fart out of your transducer. So, and I told him, I was like, what would be really sick is if you had 2 pieces of PVC, so that one could go inside of the other one, and then you get 2 springs and a rod that goes like this, so that one spring pulls this way and the other spring pulls the other way. And what that would do for you is you would have to put a stopper ring somewhere in the middle to hold one of those pieces of PVC. But what that would do is you could push it down, and it would basically the one spring would take over and pull the thing down and keep it in the down position. But then if something hit it, you would have an angle at the front. And this is where Yakabi actually has an angled piece of plastic that goes around the GT35 or whatever it is transducer that he has.
56
for the Garmin. Yes, thank you. And when something hit it, it would pop it back up, and your thing would just pop up. Then you would go past the obstacle, and then you just slam it back down.
Dude, I love that.
And I'm like, bro, how sick would that be?
That'd be awesome.
I'm so glad you thought of that. Oh, my solution, I'm actually in the works of making it right now, just because I'm like, now I got a thing. I found, you guys know what all thread is?
No.
Okay. It's the screw, like a machine screw, like that screws into a nut. That's the thread part, and then there's a head for the screw. Well, you can get all thread, which is lengths of metal that's just thread.
Oh yeah, yep.
So what I looked up and found, and I got a hold of from a plastics maker, was 1 1/4, because that's what the hole is. Yeah, told me 1 1/4 plastic all thread. And so I was like, okay, so basically, if I had a washer, you could lower it down and bring it up, and then I'm like, okay, well, how would I do the washer? I put a spindle on it, but the cord needs to go through, so I'd hollow out the all thread. So so my whole thing was, let's make it real easy, where it's just a little crank, like 2 cranks, and the thing drops to the depth, 2 cranks up. You know what I'm saying? Like almost like an anchor wizard for your.
100%.
I like it.
But again, I think really weirdly, like you came up with a very good idea with PVC very quickly, and I'm still part sourcing. So I'm like, yeah.
But they make those springs where there's a ring on the top and a ring on the bottom, and it's like an accordion spring. And I'm like, if you just had the top of it linked to the top, and then you basically just need some sort of pin that's just the exact 1/8 of an inch less than the inside of that plastic, and then another one on the other side. I don't know. I
feel like you could just make a guardian shield underneath.
That's what I wanted to do. That's why I was like, that would be the other option.
Do that. Just make a plate.
You could literally just do that.
Because you can just look at a guardian shield, and it's pretty simple.
That's what we talked about. That's the first idea I had. And he goes, "You mean make a guardian shield?" And I was like, "Yes, exactly.
Do it."
What about a drag? Does those Guardian shields add drag? Is that a
it would be close enough to be in flush, and you could get you can get a Burley Pro cover for the transducer too, so you could bash into all the rocks.
But the nice thing is with the Guardian shield, I mean, I think that Burley Pro could probably just make one. But they won't. You sell enough Shoalies, and people have this desire. I mean, Yakabi's able to fund their really nice version.
Yakabi's more likely to I would picture a company like Yakabi make it. Burley Pro would never make that. Like
Yakabi would totally design one. They would it would be 3D printed,
which is
good and bad. The 3D printing material, it chips. And so when I go with protection underneath with like anything that's got air behind it, like the transducer cover, by the way, the rear transducer cover for that thing, Yakabi's is unbelievable.
I used it on the Titan X for a while.
It's so freaking nice.
Somebody asked me about that today. I answered a DM about that.
Yes, buy two of them. But there's nothing behind it. So it's got power behind it. But whenever there's air behind those materials, they crack. Because there are seams in the plastic, and so like your feet, Jeff, the Yakabi feet, they're actually they can be really easy to break because the seams go vertical.
Disagree. My dog chewed on them for 35 minutes, and they're perfectly fine.
It handles a lot of things pretty well, and it handles some things horribly. Like, so I'll give you an example. The square battery holder for the Naqua.
Yeah,
I dropped it.
It can't take. Also, it can't take any pulling force
because there are seams in the way that it's made when the machine is running this way and this way and this way and this way. There's a seam. When you hit that seam, it's a problem. So that's where I get
Case in point, I broke. Who's the crate company? Paul. Source Crate. Thank you. Source Crate sent us their cup holder, and I took like a big old fatty like that, and I just dropped it in the cup holder, and because of that pressure, that shear pressure it was exerting, it exploded. The cup holder exploded, and we just went back to Source Crate. It was like, look, man, this is a thing that these parts do this, make it bigger, and he made it bigger, and now it doesn't.
Not to knock him, because that dude, he works his.
He's just figuring that stuff out.
Yeah.
He does some really cool stuff. All right, I did have some specific things I wanted to get into for the show, so I say we jump into the meat. 40 minutes in, 45 an hour in, whatever. It's fine. We'll get to that. All right. So I did want to start with the basics, because obviously, like, you're solving a lot of problems. You mentioned, like, hey, I love Paul said it earlier too, and I think we're all kind of the same brain here. We love a puzzle, right? We love a puzzle. We want to solve that. So I was curious, like, when you get a new kayak in the shop and you already have. You guys carry Yak Attack, right? Like, you got accessories. Yeah. Like, we got all the things. How do you know when you need to come up with a DIY solution? You're laying out that kayak. You're like, I could do this Yak Attack accessory. I could do that thing. You're like, you know what? Nobody makes this though, and I need this. So what takes you to DIY land?
Okay. First things first, shout out to Parker Compton. He made these on his 3D printer.
Baby.
I haven't busted one yet. These things are absolutely legit. Yeah, they are the cable. They're genius. I love them. And like, I was talking to him, like, hey, could you do something like this? And this man, his brain just geared it out. He put a stainless ring in there. I was like, you're the man. Yeah. He's in the chat too. What's up, Parker?
What's up, Parker?
But yeah. So majority of the DIY stuff that I have done isn't not from an initial build. It's from somebody coming back in from the water. DIY tends to be a problem-solving situation. The only time I've done my specific DIY when it came to a build in general was somebody's like, hey, I want I want all my wires this way. I want all my cabling run this way for my transducer, but I want to have a motor in the front and the back and this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. Well, in order to do that, I'm going to have to figure out a way to channel this wire a specific way, run this a specific way, and the plate's not going to fit all that. So I'm going to have to figure out a plate right now. And so go back to the back of the room and pull out some starboard and start cutting. I think the best one we did though was we called it the one night stand. It's the accessory stand for the PWR. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Or not the PWR, the XTR. I'm sorry. And basically I built an entire stand with its own separate battery source and lighting kit that sits over the battery well on the XTR out of scrap plastic that I had in the back of the shop. And
I love that.
Yeah, and I wanted to fit it to where you could fit any type of black pack on top, but it had its own rod slots too, so you could double up on your rod slots.
You have a video of that on Kayak City, on Kayak City's IG? I remember that one. That was sick.
Yeah,
we should call that out too at this point in the show. But if you guys want to follow Dave anywhere to see some of the content he's putting out, you can check out Kayak City and Wolf of Walmart on Instagram, which I love the name.
Thank you.
I think you popped up on the radar probably like, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't know when you started coming into the chat and we started like seeing it, and I was like, dude, this name, man. Like,
dude,
is great.
I'm like the Wolf of Wall Street, but just like more low budget.
Hence the where DIY. We all live.
So I got to tinkering around with that thing, and we found basically a way to make sure a 300 can swing. You can reach in and grab your battery in and out, because we actually gave it L legs to mount to the tracks. Like, that's where the DIY stuff comes into play, is like, how many problems can I solve and how many things can I avoid? You know, like what do I got to do to make this work right without hurting something else? And so we gave that boat basically the full span of the XTR deck space for the trailer to go up and down. I also put the throttle in one of the chair screws. That's where I put the throttle mount, so that way, because we didn't have the new canoe tray at the time. So that way,
which is the fusion tray is pretty freaking dope. And
as soon as I used it, I was like, how did we not have this before?
No. As soon as they called out, you can fit the power cable through the bottom of the 360 tray. That was why didn't we have this? Because that went from I made a small problem but got this big win to I have only solutions.
Yeah. That thing is straight up amazing. Also, before we move on, I can't miss this because I've missed this man's anniversary like 15 times. So DeBurley Hype Man, the AAA Hype Man, I should say, the DeBurley AAA Hype Man, has been a member with us for 50 months. 50. Man, that's like
I can't believe we even have that I can't believe we have that as an option.
It's
like that this program has existed that long is bananas.
It's crazy to me how long we've actually had memberships. But
I remember I remember sitting down at your kitchen table in Lowell and being like talking about that.
What if we?
And I remember being like, I'm not doing this if we can't have these three things.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? 3 years and 2 months? Sorry, I'm slow on math.
Yeah.
But dang, dude, hell yeah. That's your OG right there.
4 years,
100%.
They're 12 months in a year, 36
years.
is 3 months.
Dude.
Yeah, that's 48 plus 2, man. That's insane.
Legend.
The fact that we had it for 4 years is crazy to me. But so he says, hey, look, another great month of being aggressively average and part of the coolest kids on the tube. Remember, if you think you're gonna be average, might as well be aggressive.
Super average fisherman, don't care.
Average at all things in life.
I'm aggressive. That's about it.
That dude, sometimes it's all you need. It's all you need. Gets you places. All right. So I love that. So you're doing these, you're solving these problems, which it's funny. We're talking about the Wildy, and we can talk about that because it's gonna come up for part of the problems that we're solving. But we just find like these kayaks, they do so many good things. And like the good companies do, 9 out of 10 of all the things you could want. And then this one thing, and then like the really bad companies is like, well, there's like 2 things it floated great. Everything else sucked. But for the most part, like most of the companies we'll talk about on here, which is a ton of them. You got Crescent, Old Town, Native, Bonafide, what New Canoe, whatever, like all of those, we'll talk about them here. And they're all great. And then there's always
systems.
Yep. And there's always just these things that we're like, man, I wish this wasn't this way. But you're working on ways to work around that, which is great. You're finding extra space in those kayaks. And it's funny you brought up the starboard because Paul and I were like, yeah, let's get a 4x4 sheet of starboard. Let's start cutting our own custom pieces, and we're going to have to solve these problems. So
I have a router. I can literally do anything.
Yeah.
So a 1/8 corner cut on your router. You want a 1/8 blade. It should be a 1/4 inch chuck, and it's an 1/8 carve.
I've got it. The round.
Yeah. Okay, you got the 1/8.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dude, that cleans it.
I also am a jerk, and what I'll do is if I had the half, I'll take the last middle and then I'll hold it out and I'll clamp a piece of wood out and then just run it across. So it looks just the same. Looks just the same. I know what I said makes no sense to no one that doesn't use a router.
Yes, but
that's
totally
what I'll do. I'll be like, I'll make it work.
Router folks be out here like, oh, I got you. I
am that guy.
Yeah. So Dave, I wanted to ask you too, like, what do you think? You just mentioned a really cool one, but what do you think is like your creme de la creme, best DIY you've ever done? You put it out there. You're like, I'm Michelangelo. This is amazing. What was your best DIY you've done?
I mean, I'm looking at my kayak right now, like, what did I do?
Hit him with a stumper. Let's go.
Well, I mean, so what it is it's all a puzzle for me. So it's not necessarily like
the biggest delivery.
Yeah, one's better than the other. Like sometimes it's as simple as like, I had a guy come in and he's like, I need to be in a tournament tomorrow. Can you give me live scope? And
like, oh yeah, that's a fun little mini project.
I mean, mind you, he had a PA and it was really cool. So like,
that's pretty easy. Actually.
And I was sitting there just jawing up with him. I didn't realize that, like, I thought he was going to come back and pick it up tomorrow. So I was like kind of talking around with him. No, he came in to Kayak City to get it done, to drive to the tournament immediately following after I finished.
Oh my God.
You're talking and he wasn't like, hey bro, can you start building the thing?
But he was super cool. He's a super dope dude. And James is over there like starting to break the boat down. I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's all,
like, we got 2 hours, dude.
For this. I was all, so yeah, so we
shut the fuck up, get out.
So we ran the cable, we got on the live scope on, we ran the cable, we did all that. It was great. And I made like this little small temp plate. I am not proud of the plate, but I'm proud that we got him live scoped and set up and ready to go in under 2 hours and out the door. Like that's like a win for me.
You did the plate for the live scope arm or for the inside the hull?
The bat wing for the inside.
Yeah, the inside the hull. Yeah. And we had starboard, so I had to trace everything, make it all right, and like so. Yeah,
I made that people that don't know, like, when you're looking at when you pull the drop-in bin out of the front hatch of the Hobie, and you go to reach under where like the cockpit would be, like where your feet would go,
space.
You have to have a plate that gets like basically, I say zip tied, but attached to there's a stem that's like a main mast that runs right through the center of it, and you attach this piece of starboard, which is like, just think rigid plastic that you can just kind of mess with, like craft plastic sort of
cutting board. Yeah,
there you go. And so but then you have to mount all the different pieces and all the equipment, electronics that are required to run live scope, because a lot of live scope units, once you get past 10 inches or greater, there's a separate box for the communication between space and also the unit and also the live scope. And you have to like bolt that to the actual plate, because otherwise there's nowhere to mount that plate on the inside of the hull. Otherwise you just poke a hole through where the water is, which is just so you know, not great.
So
not ideal.
So like I'm proud of certain things, and other things like I can't really just be like, this was the best one. But the new foot steering that James was the one that introduced me to this whole foot steering system with the tracks and the extrusions and the wheels.
The one that's on my Smallie now.
Yes, people are asking about in chat, but if you saw the videos Paul talking about doing the foot steering custom on there, it came from the team over at Kayak.
Yeah. And so I was like, dude, I sent it to you guys to be like, hey man, if you got that small kayak and you want little amount of space, use this, because this is what we've been
4 days later. I did it.
I solved it. That was amazing.
So I did that, and then I upgraded the foot steering to pedals from my Bonafide.
That was sick.
Yes. I feel like
they were M8 bolts, by the way.
Dude, all right, my memory was.
I knew it. You were on it.
Yeah, dude. Because me and Paul were talking. I'm like, I think it's this bolt. I can't remember exact thread count, whatever. So, but yeah, I figured out how to center on those plates. Having since then talked to Ramel to talk to him about his foot steering system, because Ramel was the one who figured all this stuff out.
Dude.
Yeah. And I appreciate him because he's so cool about everything. And he's like, dude, look, he's talked to a couple guys, I guess, that are supposedly pros in this foot steering system. And he's like, he's all, then why didn't you think of it first if you're a pro? And that's like such a good point. And then on top of that, like the way his plates are run, he has wider plates, which makes more sense when I was talking to you about the leverage of.
I was trying to explain it to Jeff. It's hard. It made total sense to me, but I explained it like a moron.
That's all good.
I figured it out. I got it.
Yeah. And so like if you guys really want the most superior foot steering system, like,
well, the line management is the no-brainer. I mean, the way that he did the turning of the so basically you turn the foot peg and it holds a bunch of the cabling that for the foot steering, so you can adjust it. So you get someone tall in there. You don't have to like untie this micro knot and then like, you know, because I have like extra line in the back of my small for that exact scenario.
Yep.
You don't have to do it's none of that. It's just you pull it out, you twist it 2 or 3 times, pop it back in, and like now it's perfect. And that is sick.
We should call out this is the Wizard steering kit that is available on Bonafide.
The Wizard foot steering kit, it's available on
it's a big water specifically, but Bonafide native. So
that's right.
On both of those.
They're not, but you can't get them anywhere, and they're like $180. So it's like that's it. Like I love a premium option. I love using a premium option. I like testing a premium option. I really do like making my own. I just get a kick out of it, even if I only use it one time. If it worked, I will take that to my grave.
So and I sent you the links for all the stuff for the.
I've been putting them out there. They're everywhere. So they're on my Amazon. They're everywhere. Or not my Amazon. They're on the YouTube one and the Instagram one. They're all over.
But they're on Amazon, and you guys can build this whole kit, by the way, that we're talking about for about
$30. $60 you can make 2 kits.
Oh yeah, it was 30 for the whole kit, 60 for 2. Yeah.
And then if you really want some line management, I got a handful of these still. So like if anybody needs them, Parker Compton, he was in the chat, like we have these. I can get these to you. Yeah. Just DM me and we'll figure it out. But
what that does for the folks listening in on that, what does that do?
Sorry. Yeah. So these they go on the ends of your extrusion, because just like the Wizard FCS kit,
like the bars that your foot peg is sliding across. Yeah.
Yes, these are actually 3D printed by Parker. They fit the extrusion perfectly, and you put what's called a stainless steel screw through the top. And if any of you have kayaks, and if you are a DIYer, you have extra Yakabi screws sitting around.
About a billion.
You can literally use a Yakabi screw right here, and it threads right into the aluminum of the foot rail or the guide rail. So
the same exact concept as a line guide for a fishing rod. So your line is going to go through that hole he's talking about, and the stainless steel ring, the line goes through there, and it minimizes all the drag on that line.
No fraying of the line.
The whole outer thing. So because everybody has plastic, which is fine. Like it's plastic. It's a great product. It's not going to be like wearing you down immediately, but over time, like it'll get eaten up. And so
or it'll cut your line.
Yeah. Right. Or it'll cut your line, or, well, let's get into that. Cause me and Ramel were talking about these foot steering. So we'll get into that in a minute. But so what Parker did was he put a stainless steel ring in here that could actually slow the drag, and because it's stainless, it's not going to rust out on you. It's and he used it from like saltwater tackle. So like, it's got, it can take some beatings.
Yeah. What I love about that is like but the biggest thing to me is it's replaceable without ruining the line. Like you have taken the problem and you've made it very fixable and reduced the amount of fixing you would have to do, versus if you didn't do that, you're just shredding your line or you're sawing a hole in your kayak, which is unfixable. So that's the biggest thing for me is like you took a problem that was unreplaceable, unfixable once it happened, or debilitating to your kayak, and you've made it now like let's say that ring pops out and you do eventually, you just unscrew it, buy another one, untie your line, run it again, and you're fine. You just replace it. And that is significantly superior to just shredding your kayak.
Yeah, or fraying your line and being stuck out there with one foot pedal,
because you got lazy. I'll run it down to the absolute wire for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. And Paul, I have some more foot steering options that I want to run by you guys. I don't have them on me, but I have some more foot steering options that I want to get with you with, because the next thing I want to talk about is that guide plate when you mount your foot pedal too, right? Yep. So there is, I had them around here somewhere. I think I cleaned them up, but yeah. So I love the retractable bike pedals. Like it's great because it's a motorcycle pedal. It's for your backseat guy or girl, So what I noticed on the plate, and if you center it, if you use
I'm doing that here in the next week or two.
Center it, you're going to find there's a lot less tension when you're pushing back and forth. Look, the Apple's giving you the thumbs up. So you'll have a lot less tension. So your extrusion bars, which is the guide rails that these foot steerings will roll across of, won't twist at all, because it's now the weight's now centered. But if you look at the plate, where you tie your line in, where I showed you how to tie the line in, it's chamfered on the outside, but not on the inside.
I noticed that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, and this is what I got on my RVR outside right now that's still in the back of my truck because I'm going to go run it. Split ring.
That's what I was going to do. Yep. I was just going to use a clip.
Yeah. Just a little split ring.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I had that in my head like the whole time I was going to do this. I was like, I mean, like, yeah, tying on it's fine, but it totally makes sense to have just something to tie it to that's not going to be just shredding that knot.
Exactly. Rubbing against the extrusion as you're pushing and plowing. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed the first time I did the foot steering when it was just the plastic, it was rubbing. I knew the line was going to rub against the plastic that came with the Smalley, like the standard bar.
Yeah.
I cut the bar, first of all, to make the angle less. I just took tubing and ran it over the line.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, yeah, this will never, I mean, it's not perfect, but I was like, I just solved that problem. Like, that was easy. It worked super good.
So yeah, so there's a couple of FYI like situations that I've been able to do some stuff that I really liked. That answers your question. Sorry, we tangent. Yeah,
this show is about tangents. We call it off the rails. It's all good, man. That's what we do. As long as the off the rails are productive, it's a good podcast. All right, so
I have a question.
Let's go.
I have all the questions. Go ahead.
No, I got one. So if you are, if someone wanted to like start screwing around with their kayaks, what tools would you say are like? First of all, just say the must-have baseline. Like you have to have an impact driver and a drill driver.
No impact. Don't do an impact.
Well, really.
The reason why impact drills became battery impact drills became out was because they were doing bolt metal to metal steel work.
Yeah.
So what you can end up doing is you can actually, the impact, even though it's not that much, will actually start jolting if you have brass inserts in your plastic. It will start separating that.
I always get nervous when you grab the impact driver. I always use a drill at a low torque setting. Always.
Number 10. If you're going to do a drill, you do it on drill power. You do it on a number 10. Now the impact goes quick, which is great, but that tap.
Oh, I don't want that. Yeah.
But once you hit that tap just to begin with, just an accidental, or you hand it over to your buddy who's working with you, and he goes whoop into a bolt right into your So I keep my impacts away from my kayaks. I love my impact drills. I have like 7. Like trust me, and I have them in all different brands, and I love them all to death for different reasons.
Yep.
They don't touch my kayak. Yeah,
there you go. You gotta have a drill.
Yeah,
that's a drill. Absolute bare minimum. And you gotta have a good, not a good, but you have to have a decent set of bits. I like clean holes, and you're gonna be drilling through metal at some point, very likely. So you're gonna want to have a decent set of bits. Now, let's assume that you have an adjustable wrench and a screwdriver set, and you're gonna want to have a socket wrench set. So that's like
sockets are a must.
Let's assume you gotta have a deep.
You need to have Allen keys. Deep
absolutely.
Sockets. Yep.
So let's assume you have the basics. What would be like? What would you say? Like what's step 2?
Above and beyond.
Okay, what are we doing next?
Okay, so you need crimpers because we already talked about basic, but
crimpers and
wire strip.
Having a crappy crimp connection that's why I started using the solder connectors.
Dude,
I say just go to Amazon and buy the solder connector.
So I've been thinking about it, but I really I've been doing crimps for a very long time. I do solder connections on certain connections for sure, but I've been doing crimping. My dad's an electrical contractor growing up, and at 6 years old, me and my sister were learning how to wire outlets. So stick a knife in it first, so you know what you're working with.
Then you learn some lessons.
Check it out.
These are life lessons.
Man.
A good crimper goes a long way. We picked up a really nice one from Amazon that goes up to I think it goes up to 6 gauge.
6. Yeah, that's the other thing is knowing the gauge wires you're going to mess with and having the tools to work with those gauge wires, because if you're doing like trolling motors and like larger battery motors, you got to be able to go up to at least 6.
You guys, like I'll get back to Dave, but like I just want to point out, get the multi-connector size kit. Like you just go to Amazon, you get like a 200 piece connector kit. You're going to use it
22 all the way to 6.
Yep. 22 to 6. Yeah. 22
so that's to connect wires of different gauges. Also, the other thing I would actually say is have at least three different size step down connectors, because that's something like nobody has. And when you need it, there's nothing else you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Step down connector is to connect like 2 different wires at different gauge sizes.
Like a 22 to a 16.
Yeah.
I have like a kit that has 4 different sizes, and I have like 20 of each. Because I agree with Jeff. I think if you don't have I have like a whole tray of everything.
Yep. I have about 4 trays of the same thing over and over again. Yeah, because I always end up using so many of one. I'm like, well, I might as well just get another kit just to.
Or you break it 5 times like Paul did the other day, and then you're like, thank God I have 200.
That's stupid.
I know.
Wilderness wire. God damn.
It's not your fault. Cry about it.
It's all good, dude.
Dave, what else do we need?
Okay, Crimpers, you need a. So Paul said it before on the show, and I loved it. I believe he said it on the show. If not, we said it in chat. Magnets. You need rare earth magnets. You need rare earth magnets. You need braided fishing line.
Yep.
And you need a wire, not what you would think is the wire snake, like the full fish tape where it comes out of a roll. People use that. You can use that. That's all good. But what I don't want to do is run a cable or run a steering cable or anything else that I'm trying to pull through a kayak across my transducer wire that I didn't know that I hit with that flexible tape, fish tape. Yeah, so I use fish tape sticks. You can go get them at Home Depot. A couple different brands make them. You can get them online. You can get them on Amazon. Just get the screw together fish tape sticks. So that way
they're cheap. They're like $10.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can run those and you can control the path.
The big thing is you can control the height.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about it is that can get tricky is when you have a kayak like a crescent that has a bunch of molded in depressions and stuff. You'll hit shit and you won't know how to get around it. That's the one thing that can be a little, but that's like a 10% problem, not a 90% happens all the time problem.
Right. And then there's always ways to do it. Like
the magnet's sick. I'm going to show you guys that trick on a video. So I got the bullet one that has like the pointy angled like cable runner for the inside. So basically like if this line is like the hull and like this is the inside of the kayak and this is the outside of the kayak, you have a magnet on the outside and you have a piece of metal that would connect to it. And the magnet is basically allow you to run. This is to be like your wire is attached to a piece of metal that's the shape of, in my case, a bullet. And then you have the magnet. The magnet comes, this is the hull and it, boom, attaches. And now you can just move it however you want and put it right to where the hole where you want it to come out of. And you just move it along the hull. And it's like the easiest way to run a wire. That's how people do it. Like electricians, if they're going to run something down drywall, that's how they're going to like perfectly negotiate their way down in between some studs and to run wiring through drywall.
That's how I hang cabinets, dude. That's how I find my stud line to hang cabinets.
Smart.
It should be so much easier. Why cannot stud finders not being stud finders has got to be one of the most freaking infuriating things.
Paul,
you have to get the really expensive one.
I'm gonna let you know right now. You are a stud finder at this point.
Stud
finder, bro, because you have a magnet and then you put it on the wall and there's a stud, bro. So you are the stud finder.
In my life, I don't know that I've ever been more frustrated drilling a hole in my garage ceiling and knowing for a fact that the 1/4-inch bolt I just put through is attached to air.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've never
That's my
known
favorite thing to do.
If you guys want to hear a funny one, I was making a joke with somebody in my garage about my kayak, and it was the RVR, which is very limited ways to be able to make stuff run. So I'm like, dude, I can't get the wire kit through that. I'm just gonna fly a kite. And so I took some braided fishing line and I extended it out like prison fly kite. Anyway, so I put some tape, painter's tape around the end of the string. I stuck it in one side. I took my leaf blower and I just blew it until it flew out the other side of the kayak. Dude, we were laughing so hard. I didn't really think
silently genius.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna work at all, but it was really funny. Yeah, so
that's like a foot steering kind of common method people will blow on.
Dude,
one
that's
end of
for the
leaf blower running 10 times better.
running in through the tubing though, depending on what gauge tubing they give you, running steering cable through tubing can friggin' suck.
It's
so you can
terrible.
You can also just get it drip line tubing.
What? Because it's bigger?
Well, not just because it's bigger. It's the similar gauge. It's exactly what you're looking for. It's a black plastic hose that you can put a hole in the flange on both sides. Yeah, just drip line tubing.
Yeah. So that's similar to the flange method. I actually just use refrigerator flange. Like
that's what you're saying. Yeah,
it's almost perfect. Like I'm like it's meant to handle water. It seals on the outside, like it's curved on the outside, which a lot of the flanges are not. They're flat. Like, dude, I'm like, oh my God, why did we not?
Yeah.
Frankly, so a lot of refrigerator flanges, a lot of them have like a component that actually pops it up. Like it's an external triangular shape and like is a housing for the flange. So you actually drill like a pretty big hole, which would be easy to run the tubing. And then there's like this big, like a little bit bulky, but it's like very smooth and sleek. And it's the same shape that everyone else uses in their molds, like in the kayak molds for their line to pop out. I'm like, you literally chop that off, put this on top, and it is a corrosion resistant, meant to handle water, meant to last a lifetime, perfect flange for like to have the cable come out and attached to a tubing, because it actually clamps the tubing to the flange, which is genius.
Yeah, I love it.
$11.
I can't believe you didn't think of that.
I feel like
that's awesome.
The drinking show tonight is the word flange. And or
so
extrusions.
It took me. I knew what I wanted, and I didn't know what the term was. I didn't know what it was called, and I will tell. It took me about 4 hours of internet searching before I figured out that I was looking for a flange,
dude,
like a refrigerant flange. And I was like, I figured out the search, and like all of a sudden, I'm getting everything I want. I'm like, yes.
How often are you like Google searching? I do this all the time. I know what I want. I can't do a very good job of describing it. I just try to find like similar components.
AI. I go to Copilot. I say, what is this called? And I describe it in disgusting detail. And they'll be like, you talking about a flange? I'm like, stop.
See, what you're looking for is a flange.
Wow. I've been blessed when it comes to components and stuff like that. I've been blessed because I've been doing construction my whole life. So it's like, okay, I kind of know what I'm looking for here and there. So, another tool that I really can't live without when it comes to all this kind of stuff is a very patient and understanding wife.
Yeah, factual.
Yeah, that's a hard to come by. That's
a rarity.
Yeah. She sprayed the wall with the hose just to let me know how happy she is I'm out here today.
That looks like fun in there. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be in the garage for 14 hours, probably yelling, definitely swearing, obviously sweating, maybe covered in blood. Do not let the children come out. I will have 14 and a half beers. All right. So I'm going to be kind of
sharp objects fly in my garage.
If you're in a state where things are legal, then I'm doing that too.
Yeah. So a multi-tool is it's really a must when you have to do
the terror tool, Jeff.
A wiggle stick. Okay, it's a wiggle stick.
Yeah. I call it the terror tool.
No, I was gonna say explain it for the people because I feel like multi-tool applies to a lot of things.
Tools. All right, an oscillating blade tool.
Because that's what it actually is.
Exactly.
The oscillator.
Yeah. So get one of those because what'll end up happening is you're going to be, if you're DIYing and you already got your tools and you got everything else, we didn't talk hole saws, but we'll get to hole saws.
I had it on my list.
Hole saws in a minute, and then always have a step bit on top of the hole saws. Always have a step bit just in case. So that way you don't have to have the exact because you can step bit it out to what you need. Anyways, oscillating blade because you're going to be modding plates because we are no longer are we just clipping Yak Attack. We have a cool toolkit. We want to punch holes in our kayak. We want to make stuff work and to cut really good tight cuts and squares and oscillating blade.
In weird spots.
Yeah, it's the only tool that works for the job. Yeah,
because it can angle. The actual tool can angle, and they have even down to like a half-inch, quarter-inch. They have little cuts, like little blades you can make. But I do not like that they're expensive, and I have found a way around using those. A chisel.
Chisel works great.
Oh my god, it is the cleanest effing hole. Like it's so hard. There's not a lot of blades. That you can manually make like a perfectly clean cut at an angle where it's like if you want to make a beveled edge, you can make a beveled edge. You can bevel it on the inside or the outside. And I would also recommend using a mallet because you just make less mistakes. If you take a chisel and you just place your hand, and as long as if you're wearing a glove, if you're
put your hand in front of the chisel,
I actually hold the chisel. Hammer it. And then I literally just hit it with a mallet, and it cuts it will clean up any hole, like any hole, square shape any weird shape that you want to make, bevel, not bevel, inside, outside. I have been, that is an absolute cheat code for me. It is necessary.
What I do is I buy cheap blades and I cut them down with a grinder to the size that I need.
Ooh,
yeah,
that is bold. I like that.
It's pretty easy.
You can just like snip them.
Yeah, and then you can cut to one side so that center, it's not the center, it's the right side.
That's perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's sick.
That's smart.
Good idea. I would never have thought to cut a $40 blade.
Well, that's why you go get the cheap ones.
The $20
online, and you get the 50 pack or whatever, and then you just cut half of them one way, half of them the other way, and then you have storage for the next 2 years. So
smart. I like it.
Hole saw. Go back to hole saw because golly.
Let's round out the toolkit.
I hate buying them. I hate buying them.
Yeah, hole saws are tricky. So really,
the hole saw allows you to like allow you to make a perfect circle,
to drill a big
hole, perfect, and then large on a 2-4 inches. Like think about the hole that you would have to drill to put like a door handle into a door that didn't have one.
Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to draw a picture, I'm doing this for the listeners. If you draw a picture of a ballerina standing on her tippy toes, her tippy toes are the drill bit. There is a circular saw blade that wraps around that drill bit. So that would be her tutu. Mm-hmm. And you drill it down past
perfect.
You drill it down to where the tutu touches the plastic.
And it's now cutting.
And it's now cutting. She's just thinning so fast.
Razor tutu.
The best description of something that I never thought I'd hear.
Sorry, dude. I got a 2-year-old daughter. I got a whole new. I have a 2-year-old daughter, so I have a whole new sound or a whole new set of imagery going around my house all the time. So I got
hand me the ballerina bits. I got to drill with the
girl dad life is the best.
Yeah,
yes, it is. I got 2 girls. It's a blast.
So yeah, I know that my homie Andy's never gonna let me live that one down for that description, but whatever. Me and Andy worked together for 5 years, and now we fish together, so it's great. Yeah, so that's basically what a hole saw is. It has teeth. You can have different types of teeth. You can have the aluminum teeth, which look like actual sawtooths. You can have concrete, which is a diamond. It's kind of looks like sandpaper all the way around, and then you can have aluminum, or excuse me, stainless. Now the stainless blades don't ever use on plastic. Don't. Like if you say, oh yeah, hole saw kit, stainless, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Go for steel, wood, go for
are those the ones
because it'll melt more often, or
yeah, it will smoke it. Yeah,
that's what happened. So that's what happened. Those are the DeWalt ones. Those are the ones that I had. And then I went back and bought the Milwaukee ones that are super thin with all the holes in them. And those are the ones for cutting metal, and they are 4,000 times better.
Yep.
Yeah, because the plastic,
you can't get the plastic out of the stainless.
It gets stuck inside the hole saw, and then it's melted in there. So it took Paul and I like an hour and a half.
You thought you made a good decision. So you actually hate yourself.
There's holes in the back of all the hole saws.
Mm-hmm.
And
you tap it. You put. I use like a hex key.
Yeah. Well, I use those to unscrew it. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't have the pronged connector on your drill bit, I use those to unscrew it. And I unscrew the drill bit, and then I just set it on a table, and then you can just hammer it down with a pencil or whatever. It pushes.
And you would think that would work,
but not when it's melted to the blade.
The thing was so lodged in there; it took us forever to get it.
That was the longest step of the entire build.
That's when you get your grinded down multi-tool blades out and you cut it out.
I wasn't sweating until that happened, and that's what we ended. I ended
up drilling 4 holes into it and then prying it out. I wanted to die.
Yeah. Needle nose pliers pried it out. It was horrible.
I get it. I've been in those situations with different types of metals before, but never too much on plastic. But okay, so let's talk about your hole saw kit. Your drill bit in the hole saw kit comes at a specific depth. Yeah. According to your kit that you get, if you just get one by itself, there will be an Allen key that comes with it. Mm-hmm. Please make sure that there is a set screw in there that is on tight, and if not, tighten it down. Put your blade on
over here.
Put your blade on, like put the hole saw blade on. When the hole saw blade is on, if your drill bit is not a 1/4 inch or more past the hole saw blade itself, you are setting yourself up for disaster and or stitches. Mm-hmm. So make sure you have your drill bit a 1/4 inch deeper than your hole saw, because that is your guide. You put that right on the center dot. That's what holds you center the whole time.
Yeah. So otherwise it skips. If anybody hasn't been cut by a hole saw before, I have.
You want to see my foot?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, that wasn't a hole saw, Paul. That was an auger. It's like
it's almost the exact same thing.
Did it have a tutu?
It didn't have a tutu. It's more of all blade.
Ask the two scars on my foot and or ankle.
3, I think. I think you double tapped one foot and then you hit the heel.
Well, that's true, but the where I still have scars on my ankle bone on my right, and then the like pad of my foot on my left.
Somebody said early in the show, Paul, if you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck. So I mean, at least you have that.
My God.
It's your year, dude. It's your year.
It's his life, bro.
Tore my bicep, and then like 3 months later, not even shredded my foot.
Yeah.
And now, but
and you burn your computer to the ground. Yeah.
Classic. Yes. Classic me.
At the glass house. That's how it goes. The glass hold.
The glass hold.
The glass hold, everything goes wrong.
I did after I had that incident with my foot, I did go and spend like $60 on just like Band-Aids, first aid, like super the whole 9. Like if you come to my house with a gunshot wound, I got you.
Nice. So
any impalements, sucking wounds, it's fine. Like you'll be all right.
We're good.
So a lot of I like the open end wrench. I like a full open end wrench kit, but it's
not a lot of people use those.
I love having it.
Yeah, it's a socket from the side, especially when it comes to stuff like your motor. Like you don't want to over tighten your NK 180s or your NK 300s. That plastic will crack. So you just want to make sure you hand tight stuff. And what I always do on all my connections when I'm using a drill or anything, once the drill is tight and it stops, I pull it off and I hand tighten it just another half turn.
Finish it.
Yeah.
And it is a pain in the neck because you will get those longer bolts and it'll be like this is what gets me is like getting an adjustable wrench on the inside of something and having it hold like its connection while you're manually socket wrenching the top is such a pain in the nuts. Where I do it the other way now usually, where I go socket wrench on the inside and then I might even grab another socket wrench or use a drill or whatever and do the outside.
Do you know how many freaking bolts I had to tighten down on that gosh dang trailer? If you guys haven't built a trailer before, I swear it was 100, maybe 120 bolts, and it was just the worst are the U brackets. And when you have when you attach the wheels to the axle for the trailer, you have to do 4 of those in a row. And it's for the shock springs. So I had to do like U-bolt or U-bracket, and then it's like lock it down. And you're trying to keep it even. And it's 4 freaking locking nuts on there. Yeah. It was a nightmare.
So okay. Let's talk about this real quick, just because I don't know how you guys are comfortable on your drilling, on your screw tightening, this, that, or the other. Do you guys have a tap and die set?
No.
Oh, thumbs up. Okay.
Good.
They're great. It will help you, Paul, especially when you are like me and we are the champions of the Ace Hardware.
Baby.
Hardware aisles. Tap and dies you can actually fix before you have to go get new bolts. You can fix bolts, you can fix threaded inserts, things like that. It's a little more work. Now we're getting to high end stuff, but
that would be legit.
Yeah, you could basically fix whatever you want. Now it's a slow process, especially with aluminum, because a lot of stuff is aluminum, but it's a slow process. And 2 Allen key sets. That's what I have. Yeah, I double up for party, dude. My computer is killing it right now.
What else can we do?
I got balloons. I got
do devil horns. I can't remember which way it is. It should be a show. Yeah, show. Yeah. Let's go. Yes. Now we got it.
I don't know how to turn that stuff off yet.
Apple did something great.
I don't know how to turn it on.
I get 2 Allen key sets. One that I leave as the L, and the other ones I take a grinder and I cut off the L, because I can put the Allen key now inside my drill and it goes a whole lot faster. With longer Allen bolts.
Smart.
So I would my thing was going to be buy a $40 adapter set for a drill where you can get literally Allens, sockets, like
all the things,
anything that you can spin, including tutus, goes on and that allows you to make an adaptation to use your drill. It will speed up so many things for you and will allow you to then use like your sockets on the inside and then your drill on the other side if you want to, or anything.
Black Friday. Black Friday every year.
And just like around the house. So like I have like a new house, a new build, and my garage door needed tightening. And I was like looking at like 78 bolts that needed to be tightened to quiet my garage door. And I was like, oh, F this. And that's when I actually bought the socket adjustment. Like, and it was like a 30-minute horror show job turned into like 45 seconds.
Yep. Yeah. So also, again, like I said, when I mess something up, I make sure that I make it the most important thing. 18-volt drill or 12-volt drill. There is settings on it, numeric settings. Don't go over 10.
That's what.
Yep.
Jeff and I have talked about that many times.
Yeah. Don't go over 10.
I know the settings for torque for every, like if you're building a Yak Attack Black Pack, set it to a torque setting of 3.
All the way down.
It will never over tighten. You can do the whole thing. I could build a Black Pack in like 10 minutes.
You'll just hear it go.
Just clicks and you're like, did it, and you'll never strip it out. Because if you do it at any setting higher than that, you will ruin a Black Pack really fast.
I do a lot of work with the natives, and then I always work on my bona fides because natives move a lot out here. Greg Blanchard's a big, very popular stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's a cool guy. Like I like Greg. He's dope. He actually answers my texts if I text him. He's he's not too cool for school, you know. But so all those have threaded inserts, and so I know that 10 will not blow that threaded insert out. That's why I keep everything on 10. But when it comes to Black Packs, I just do them by hand because it's a screw that's like this long.
Yeah.
So,
I'm super lazy.
I have a mental problem. I can't do that.
I get it. No, I do it with the drill too. I was just trying to give you guys a hard time.
I was like, no way. 128 screws, and you're just like,
oh my god. I look at the first bag, and I'm like, yeah, get the drill.
Absolutely not. Thanks, Yak Attack. No, thank you.
By the way, save your Yak Attack screws. You do not know how well or how difficult it is to find a good stainless screw that fits all kayaks.
So that was going to be my next thing. Is I have like
both
2
washers.
Yeah. I have like
nuts.
two tackle boxes, 2 tackle trays, and they're full of bolts, and they are full of screws, and they're full of washers, all different kinds of plastic washers and metal washers. And I actually have a whole tray full of pulleys, size 15 saltwater pulleys. Yeah. I have a whole bucket.
We've been collecting.
Dude, and so I was running out, and so I went out and bought probably $40 or $50 worth of 1/4 20 in 1/8 of an inch all the way up to 3-inch. Because I was like, you never know when you're going to need a 1/4 20. And I bought Allen top, the V-shape flush mount ones, the standard bolts, and then I organized them all by size. And so, I went out and I was just like, I always need these. And I bought the associated locking washer to go with all of them, and also the washer to go with them all. Yeah, the hex lock nut, and then all the washers. Because it's like, if you don't have the lock nut, if you're gonna rig out any amount of kayaks at any point, there's no way you're not gonna need one of those at some point.
You're gonna use all of those things, and I would also say
I used 6 of them.
Well, you're gonna weekend. Use it for everything. But the Yak Attack Mighty Bolts, the track slides too. Sure. Like you're gonna want. In different lengths.
I told Wade, I was like, just send me more. 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3/4, and I'll take all of them. And then I save all of the ones that I don't use. I have all because there's actually 2 of them. There's a metric, and then there's an imperial threaded version of the ones that don't have the bolts. The ones that are like that you screw into that have a hole in them.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I have mine separated, and I have a whole pile of bolts.
Yeah.
Because you never know what kind of bolt you're going to get when you buy an accessory. So, like, let's say you buy an accessory, you don't know which one you're going to get.
Or you get, there are a lot of accessories like specifically anchor cleats. Like you can get anchor cleats that are track mountable, but they don't come with the track bolt. So then you have to like, and with some of those,
drill them out because they're always made so tight.
Yeah, you got to drill them out. Yep. And then you gotta rig it up, but you can track mount those things, and they're really convenient. I've used it on the New Canoe and the Native Titan X.
Yeah, or you do what I do. I got the paddle holder, but I have my microphone's in the way or whatever. But I got my paddle holder, and then I got my actual throttle mount that comes out the top of my paddle holder instead of having the screw top. Like I stack. You know what I'm saying? So, not that Not that nobody else does it. I know everybody else does it.
You're using the space.
But yes, I need a longer bolt for that one.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's always good to have the extra bolts.
The other thing too is the I forget what they're called. I always forget what they're called, but they're like the rubber depression where they create when you screw them in, it actually pulls the rubber tight and makes a waterproof seal.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So it's like a circular threaded piece of rubber.
Yeah, it's usually an insert. It's an insert plus
it's an
rubber.
Yeah. And then, but as you tighten the bolt, it's actually pulling the threaded insert closer to the side of the hull, and
I don't think we can show what you're doing, Paul. I think
it's impossible.
Chaz, do we have a mosaic?
It's one of these.
All right, there it is. Kids heard of the birds and the bees.
It actually, in my opinion, it's the easiest way to create a waterproof seal if you're unsure about using like marine goop, which is another thing everyone should have is E6000 or marine goop.
Lexel.
Your preference. Sure.
Lexel.
It's whatever you like, right?
Yeah.
And those are a good foolproof way to make sure that you get one, a very sturdy connection, and two, a waterproof one. I actually have a whole bunch of those in quarter 20 as well.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about actually like backfilling holes and stuff. I used to use Lexel because of the design that it is. It actually holds onto the polyethylene plastic and blends with polyethylene and starboard better than most other silicone.
It's especially because
it's fancy stuff.
It is the fancy.
Sorry, it's fancy stuff, but
I remember it's the see-through tube, the Lexel. Yeah, I see this all the time. I'm like, marine goop's $2. I'm getting this. I'll see you later.
I started using the E6000. It's just I find that it lasts longer. I find that it holds up under heat a little bit better than the marine goop. The marine goop
never had an issue with the goop.
No,
other than the tubes are trash and the E6000 tube is trash, and like Lexel maybe it looks better. Plus you can get like
it's
you
pricey.
You just get it in the caulk tube style, and then you can just like that's what I want.
Run your bead.
I'll get that.
A 25-cent cap, which I bought 2 handfuls of because I always need those. Well, how many times have you taken like a paper towel and duct taped it to the top of one of those and be like, yeah, this will work. And then you go back and half the thing you have to drill out the top to get to the last
I always have to drill it out.
Caulk. I'm like, son of a like
gotta dig out all the dry
you
stuff
from 6 months ago, you moron.
I'm like, I'm not wasting. I'm always wasting half a tube.
And I never want to know. And so Ace Hardware, they have the nipples that go on top.
It's the way, and it goes
buy the whole
in.
bin.
Yeah, it goes into the nozzle as well. I have the same ones. I use those all the time, but it keeps it from drying out. I can't tell you how many times I've wasted those tubes. It is 10 o'clock, by the way. So I think
I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah.
No, you're good. This is like a topic we could talk about for like 14 hours.
The reason I so Dave, one of the reasons that I love talking with you is because there's so much passion behind like little tiny things that no one else gives a crap about. Like everyone else
should care about.
No, I mean, I think they should because I have the same level of excitement over like when Andrew sends me his video of his little bolt thing. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of like 6 different ways to do that. And I want to see what everybody else like comes up with. And it's just fun for me. Like, honestly, I rig out a lot of these kayaks. I run them 3 times and then I'm on to the next one. And I really enjoy that. And I like the day I figured out that I could use a chisel to make a mathematically perfect square. I was like, I am a god. I cannot be touched. And it's, it's 2 a.m. I'm messed up, and like look what I figured out. Like, and
he's celebrating in his garage alone. 2 a.m.
And I'm listening to a Lord of the Rings sleep track on my TV in there, and like dude,
your neighbors must think you are an insane person at this.
And they'd be right. And like the flush mount connector for the Anderson that I put on my Smalley, I love that. I think that, and then when I saw
it's the same one Wildy has.
When I saw it on Wildy, I was like, "Oh, you guys think you're so smart! I came up with that on my own." Like, I mean, like,
it's the same one.
I love it. It's literally almost identical to the one that I used.
The only thing that sucks about it is the hinge is trash and it breaks because we already broke the Wilderness one.
Well, mine's good because mine has a metal pin, and I made sure of that.
So Wildy skimped on it.
Wildy did.
Dang it!
Have you side clipped yours yet? Your Anderson plugs?
What do you mean? I don't know what that means. That's Spanish.
So your Anderson plug, we use the red ones at the shop a lot. I mean, you get the gray ones. We'll get the gray ones from Newport or whatever. But you can get the red ones too, and they're pretty ridiculously easy to use. And I think the gray ones have it too. There's a hole actually in the connector. Like you have the 2 prongs and there's 2 holes.
Yeah.
There's actually a bolt kit that comes with those. and you pull enough wire out, you fold it 90 degrees and you through bolt it to your insert. Like I do it on my knockouts for my PWR because they're oval. So I clip it and I bolt it down flat. So that way it's always a slide in connect, slide out connect, and it never goes. The connection never wiggles. Yeah, I'll send you.
I gotta see it.
Yeah,
my brain can't do that right now.
It's otherwise it's a good connection, but it is always kind of like loose if you don't.
Mine is perfect. So the one that I go that goes down vertically.
That's because of the position that it's in. The outer shell of it holds it in place.
And the inside has a rigid piece of plastic that actually holds it vertical. And I actually jammed the whole thing with the E6000 and it hardened up overnight. You cannot.
I love it.
You couldn't put it. I can rip it out and it doesn't. It's like a wall plug. I mean, it literally is that sturdy. I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
I need to see yours. I need to see that. I want to try that super bad.
It's actually not mine. I was taught that when I showed up to Kayak City. They said, "This is how we do our connections," and I said,
"I want to see."
And it looked clean. One. Yeah, it's great for trolling motors and stuff on Kayak.
I need it. I need to see it. Yeah, because we're gonna do up the EPDL here pretty soon, so I'll try. I have a good way to try it.
We're gonna be using it, and we'll likely have to redo the one on the Wildy at some point, so we can fix that one up.
I agree. The other thing too is I figured out is if you run your own wiring for a battery, so like I ran wire through the Smalley to put the big battery in the front because it trims it out like perfectly, like the weight is like perfectly distributed. I chopped the end of that wire and then did an Anderson connector to the turrets, so that now I can not only charge my battery super easy, but I just unplug it and pull it out. And like that was one thing I was going to say. Everyone should just start buying. If you rig out kayaks consistently, I just want extras. I want 6 of them. And I
keep buying 2-packs, and I should just have.
I should just buy 8-packs, and I should just keep buying the turret connector, so that I can rip out every battery that sits out there super easy and then just leave the cabling in without unscrewing. Screw that, dude! Just boom, boom. Like and then the covers, the rubber covers. Everyone should just buy the rubber covers.
Yeah, for the Andersons.
Yes, 100%. Yes,
because they're not expensive. Like it's not a huge expense. Like
just anybody who wants to even just run like a cheap trolling motor on their yak, like you could do this setup, and
if you're a John Boat guy, they are not using them. I guarantee you, John Boat guys are not using these, and they should be taking notes. Like I feel like we're doing so much work for John Boat guys right now. Like they do a lot more like fabricating than we do. So we could definitely take some notes on the fabrication end of things. But
their accessories could be improved.
I feel like we're banging on some cool.
Yeah, dude. I love it.
All right, let's do some slow rolling thunder. We're gonna pop on out. And I'm gonna juke and jive on this one. So the slow rolling thunder, 2 questions. First one, what is your favorite kayak to rig? Like this yak comes in the shop, Dave, and you're just like, hell yeah, I can't wait to build on this thing. It's easy. The options are limitless. I can do whatever I want. What is it?
I'm very biased when it comes to that. I will tell you right now. The moment you said favorite, I was like, got you. It's the PWR. Like that thing you can do. It is literally the Swiss Army knife of kayaks. I'm sorry, it is. Like
I want one.
You can just do everything to it, and anything you can do it bigger. Like that's
a good point.
Yeah. So
I want one super bad. It's on my. I really would like to get a Flint. I want to get a PWR, and then I want to get Jeff. What was the other one? There was one. I want to get the Outback. I want to get an Outback.
Oh, the Outback's like always on.
No one has done an Outback justice that I have seen yet. I've seen a lot, but no one does like super custom. But nobody does like cool stuff. That's how I feel about the Smalley. Like I feel like my Smalley build is unique. Like a lot of people that are going to get the Smalley, they're going to leave it as is, which is cool, and that's not what you should do. But people like no one's going to mess with it, and it deserves time. And that's how I feel about the Outback.
Yeah,
I would say probably my favorite kayak I've rigged so far was the Titan X. It was it kind of in the Hobie Pro Angler too. And I imagine the Outback would be the same way. I just think that it's the convenience of the rigging. It's so easy to be done. And the cool thing is a lot of companies now are coming out with those, like it's kind of standard to have those replacement drill through plates, the through hole plates. So now that that's on almost everything, you could just start saying like they're all easy to rig.
The Wilderness Systems, that Tactical Pro, there's not a lot of kayaks where it's easier to drop a trolling motor on.
And drop a trolling motor
and have everything inside already.
Yeah,
like the retractor cable's already run. that was smooth. I like that.
The drop cables are great. The skeg cables in there. It's all really conveniently placed. I think
they got the handle, the full size handle.
Yes.
That was pretty clean.
I
I like that.
Yeah, it's right there, and you need the pull right in front of it too. So yeah, dude, there's a lot of good stuff there. Pre-run for foot steering.
Come on.
Yeah, there's a lot of huge wins. The one big not win that we didn't even get to in the show is that where do I put my battery in the front? They should have had a tray in the front. It's positioned for it. The space is cut out for it. Like,
wait a minute, you didn't have a tray in the front of yours?
No. Do you?
No. There's a drop-in bin. There's
not a drop-in bin.
Yeah. But there's not a tray for the battery on the inside of the hull. They left a huge, massitive space.
They used it in the back. They should have just put the same one up front.
I know why they didn't want to put one in the front. There's nowhere to
I don't.
They didn't mold a spot to bolt anything to. So there's nowhere to put anything. What I think they should do is just sell a plate, or really, I think it should be 2 plates personally, and you should be able to attach them to the outside, which is technically the inside of the kayak, but the outside of that, the 2 bins.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to cut 2 pieces of starboard and bolt them to the inside of the bin, and just going to make it ourselves. And then you have like a nice place to just strap a battery to.
Yeah. And if you do it in a rigid L form, like one tray this way, one tray this way, and then 2 angle pieces just to keep it rigid, cut a rectangle out of the one that's flat, and that sets your battery right in it.
That's what we were talking about. We're just making a place to just have a 3-foot cam strap and just cam strap the battery so that it's just sitting in the same place and not knocking around. Just cut 2 slots in the starboard and then round them out.
It'd be so easy. And
super.
That was a bit of a miss. I mean, I can understand why they didn't do it, but like, there's no
Sell
way.
The plate, though.
You buy that kayak, you're gonna want to.
How are you gonna put forward-facing sonar anywhere? Where are you gonna mount the?
Transducer.
Yeah, well, not only the transducer, but also the unit,
the actual hub that
the black
big
box.
Heavy black.
Where
box.
are you gonna put it?
It's got to go inside.
You need a plate.
You're not leaving that out. Yeah. All right. Last one, and then we're bumping out of here.
Sorry.
So, what is the least favorite kayak to rig? You see this kayak, you run for the hills. You're like, nope.
Is it new canoe in the front?
New canoe is a pain in the butt in the front, but it's manageable.
They are a pain in the butt, but they are manageable.
Because if you have a magnet, you can pretty easily get to the front.
James ran into this the other day, and I really liked it. It's one of those ones where I'm glad I wasn't on it. I'm just gonna say I'm glad it wasn't my build. Like, I showed up because I have a regular job. I do the kayak shop. I do it for fun, and like we have a good relationship and stuff like that. I have a 9 to 5 that's 9 to 9.
We feel you.
So I showed up, and he had to put foot steering on the old school, like one of the first gen Titans, the kind that has like the 1/2-inch plastic.
Oh no.
Yeah, because they wanted to get the Wizard foot steering. And so, James did a beautiful job of doing an exterior tubed foot steering line.
Bless him. Bless Jim.
Yeah, no.
Exterior? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, fully exterior lines. But then the guy also wanted forward-facing sonar. So he has to put the black box inside. He's wiring it all up, dude. And I was looking at that. I'm like, I don't envy this build. This is probably the worst. I would never want to dive into this guy. He's all, dude, it is difficult. I'm like, yeah. He's a pro though, so yeah. So I would say any first gens or earlier models are scary because they aren't made like the way they're made now. Like back then, those DIY guys. Yeah, like talking to guys like Jeff Little or Ramel, like the original DIY guys, like those guys are legends. They're like, I took this perception, whatever, and just,
outlaw.
Yeah, and I got all this kits on it, and like, oh, dude, I don't even know how you did that, bro. It would take me a month to figure out in my garage. So
Jeff Little is somebody, I don't know why, but he'll never get the respect that he deserves. And I don't know why. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I look at that guy and I'm like, dude, the dude is literally like Davy Crockett. He just was like, the West, it's mine. Like, what a legend, dude.
Raccoon on my head. Here we go.
Yeah, like, I'm ready. Paving trails, man.
I knew he was a legend, and he goes hard in the paint. When we were at ICAST, and he's handing out Gatorades to people, and it's hotter than, dude. It was hot. It was hot. And he goes. And he's just chit-chatting, and he's just kind of farting around his little insane vehicle that he drives. And he pulls out the cooler that was empty, and he just dumps the ice on the concrete, and he's just standing in it. in bare feet, and I'm like, this mother trucker does not care. He will find a fix. He's fine. He'll be fine. I love that guy.
Yeah, dude. He's working with Snake River Lockers right now, killing it, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
Those trailers are gnarly.
And he could have been doing that for other people.
Yeah, but they didn't give him the room to do it. They didn't give him the runway, man. You gotta let the creatives create. Just let them create, man.
That's why I'm getting him on the show. So we're gonna get a whole Jeff Little history from childhood.
It is a storied past.
Well, and if you're into catching big smallmouth,
yeah.
Good God.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to derail the derailing.
No, Paul derails everything. You don't worry about it. You're the guest. You're allowed to derail. All right. So yeah, we had a lot of fun, man. We really appreciate you being on. Hopefully this was helpful for people and maybe it's a resource they come back to in the future. That's what it's all about. And yeah, Dave, what are you up to? What's coming up? Anything you want to shout out, man?
Oh, I mean, there's always people and stuff I want to shout out because I just love everybody that's been along for this journey. It's a short journey for me. So like, I'm really just trying to hang on to the ride and enjoy it. You can find me at Wolf of Walmart. If you have questions about installs, by all means, shoot me a video. Tell me you're going to shoot me a video. Don't just shoot me random videos because I'll be like, I don't know what's going on.
What is this? Who is this? What do you want?
Yeah, shoot me a video. Also for the legends, like for the people who are looking for like more than I can offer, or if it's a question that I can answer, I'm going to turn you over to James Snyder. You can find him on Instagram at Yak and James. He runs the Yakabass kayak fishing tournament series out here in California. He's also a guru when it comes to kayak mods, everything like that. Troy Smith is another guru, and then you can get Parker Compton. He'll get his little wicked brain on his 3D printer and he'll make you whatever you want. It's ridiculous. Those dudes are like the guys that have my back. Like those are my sounding boards when I need help. I used to call like Matt Souders and Brad Hicks a lot, and then I realized that it was like midnight and they're asleep. So I started calling the other guys who are in my area, and we started figuring it out. So thank you to those guys. I want to shout them out first and foremost more than anything. You can find me on on Instagram at Wolf of Walmart, any social media at Wolf of Walmart. I know I could never brand that name, but whatever. Point being is,
don't matter.
It's funny and I like it, so I'm gonna keep it.
Stop
I'm just gonna roll with it. Yeah. And then if you guys are interested, I do like other things. I am a licensed contractor and a handyman, so I do all that kind of work stuff too. But you can find me at the Whole Angler Podcast. It's also on Instagram, and it's on my YouTube channel, but it's on podcasts under the Catch Network. If you ever have an interest on what these guys did before they started fishing and how they got into fishing and how and who they are now and who they are off the water, like that's kind of what the show's about. So
who was on last week? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago?
Was it Drew? Last week, right?
Yeah, Drew. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I felt hella bad. He gave a shout out on the show, and you're like, well, the show's over. I was like, oh no. I felt so bad.
But no, we had Drew Gregory on the show. So I mean, that's the caliber of gentlemen that we're talking about.
Yeah. Drew, John Cruz, Frank Scalish. I mean,
those guys are neat.
Yeah, they're all awesome.
They do cool stuff.
But I mean, I got people like Ryan Dahl. I don't know if everybody knows who Ryan Dahl is, but they don't know who Ryan Dahl is. Like, it's legend. It's stuff of legend. So yeah, I got all the homies up there. So yeah, and you guys are going to be on there soon enough because we've been talking. So we're going to be talking. But I'm going to do you one at a time because there's no fair ganging up on me like this. So yeah.
Oh man, those are gonna be some boring episodes.
No, dude, it's the best.
All the other episodes are like an hour 90. Like these ones are like 7 minutes.
Nah, we'll go off the rails.
Well, we plumbed the depths. It was 14 minutes in, and we're out of here.
Yeah, I love
that's how I got here.
No, yeah, that's really all I'm up to. And then I'm over at Kayak City. You guys can go to Kayak City. Chances are you're going to see me, or you're going to see James, Scott, Byron. You're going to see somebody there. Just shout them out and just let them know what you need, and they'll get you hooked up, no problem. So if you're in California, if you're not in California, we're not going to come to your house. Sorry. Yeah,
you can go to California. It's really nice. Let's go do that. Well, awesome, man. Thanks for being on tonight. We appreciate you, and chat. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been a blast. Yes.
Yeah. One more thing. I can't scroll the chat, but there was one more thing. Somebody asked me, it was your guest, the 50-month guy. Yes, I use an awl. I have 2 awls. I have a tap awl, which is like basically you can set your buttons, and that's why you have your point where you're putting your drill. And then I have an actual scratch awl that I use to punch and puncture small holes. So yes, I use an awl.
all
that is
all
a
the
custom
alls.
tool. Yeah, it's a custom tool that I use. I would not suggest people use an awl on your kayak because if you don't know how to use it, you're gonna really mess it up.
Practice.
Yeah.
So we should
not
get
your
one.
kayak. I'll get one, and I'll find my most expensive kayak.
We're gonna find a way. We're gonna flip around, we're gonna drill around.
Dude, I have extra plastic. I can fix it. Doesn't matter.
That's fine. We'll just melt it in there.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry. Yeah.
All good. All right, you guys. We appreciate you so much. Members will be back. June 10th is the next members only live, and then we should be back next week. Do we have a guest next week, Paul? Maybe.
Nah, well, maybe. I have to
We've been
out.
rolling in guests the past like 3 months. We've had guests constantly.
I will tease one. We've got Bixby coming up in a couple of weeks, and well, maybe like 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
They talk about something new.
Maybe? It's gonna be. I'll say it's new, and it's not. I guarantee it's not. No one is gonna guess it.
You're not gonna guess. Somebody's gonna guess it immediately.
It's a steering wheel.
Won't.
It's a steering wheel for your kayak. Yeah.
No.
I was actually working on one of those as a joke project. But
it's an all.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's an all.
It's an all. We got it. Exactly what you need for your kayak. All right, you guys. We love you so much. We'll catch you next week. Chaz, take us out of here. Okay.